soliloquies. So we go back and forth on this. So anyways, we're getting ready to live stream this onto YouTube as we stream these. We have now our Instant Shakespeare channel on YouTube where we're putting up these readings as we do them, and so you can check that out. And also, if there are any other questions before we begin.
Just regarding the readings, Paul?
Yeah.
He can't hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, Michael, what was your question?
This is just on the same subject. Did you happen to take down Much Ado to edit it or something? Because I can't find it. Much Ado.
I'll have to look into that. It shouldn't. I didn't take it down. I think it should be there.
I can find it. I sent the link to somebody on Facebook, and when I go on his link, the link I sent, I can find it. But when I go right to the YouTube channel, all the other ones are there now, but not that one.
I don't know about why that would be happening. I'll look into it, but in any event. So
sorry, Paul, when we're in the scene but not speaking, should we have the video on?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're in the scene. Yeah.
When you're in the, when you describe that you enter, like in the first scene, I'm there, but I don't have any lines. So, but stay video on. But
yeah, because that also then gives us the sense that these things are happening at court, and so that's important. So anyways, thank you all for coming. Welcome to the Instant Shakespeare Company reading of The Life and Death of King John. I mean, there you go, spoiler right in the title. But we're going to have fun with this. Michael Gardner, did you get my note about possibly reading the stage directions? How do you feel?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you could let somebody else do it.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody else who wants to volunteer?
I'll read them.
Okay. All right, Kitty. So yeah, when you're reading the stage directions, you just be unmuted, but you don't need to have your video on for that.
Oh, okay. All this off and on is going to get a little hairy, but
yeah. I mean, it should be. I mean, you should be able to do it just simply through the through Zoom, where you can to just mute at the bottom, either mute and stop video. Just if it's got the red lines through it, then you're muted and the video's stopped.
yeah, I get it. I hope I can do it.
Yeah.
In a timely fashion.
All right. Well. So, anyways, this is a reading using the first folio edition, using the Puck Press first folio edition, which most of us are reading with PDFs. Yes, thank you, Moira, for showing the actual book. I'm trying to read it on my screen, so I'm gonna look at it there. But this is all about just the way that Shakespeare works, I think, is when it's spoken aloud and when it's shared. That sort of reading Shakespeare just silently on your own, you miss so much. I mean, there's so much there that you can still get a lot out of it. But I think that being able to do it and share things is very exciting, and Zoom offers different sorts of challenges. It's not as much fun as being in the room with everybody. But it's what we're going to do so that we can at least get together in some way. I hope that we will be able to get back soon to the into the libraries. But until then, we're going to keep doing these. So thanks all for coming. I think if we could, if each of you could just sort of go through and just say what role you're playing before we get started here. I'm Paul Sugarman. I'm the founder of Instant Shakespeare, Playmaster, and I'm going to be reading King John. So thank you.
I'm Mona Murphy Martell. I'm going to be reading Chatillon and also what is her name? Lady Falconbridge, and maybe other little bits if necessary.
You like that part, don't you, Lady Falconbridge?
Hi, I'm Julie Kirshner. I'm doing Constance. Jennifer Finger. I'm doing the Dauphin.
I'm David Lutzer. I'm playing Arthur.
I'm Michael Gardner. I'm playing Cardinal Pandolf.
Kitty Chen playing Blanche and reading stage directions.
I'm Eleanor Elizabeth Foreman. I'm playing Queen Eleanor. So Eleanor playing Eleanor.
Okay, Jackie Margolis, King of France.
Sean Buckley, Philip Falconridge, and then Richard Plantagenet. Same guy.
I'm Lisa Hepburn playing Pembroke.
Kenneth Wayne, I'm the Earl of Salisbury.
I'm Mike Hepburn reading Hubert and the Citizen. A quick question. Act 4, Scene 2. Hubert appears, he enters, and then a few pages later, he enters again.
Yes, you have to go away.
I believe it's something where doesn't he like go to check on something and come back? I thought that sometimes, a lot of times they, in the folio especially, you can't always trust all of the entrances and exits.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. And
I'm not on for the first 23 pages. It's because I'm switching computers, okay?
Okay. And so, yeah. So I think, is that everybody has introduced themselves? Oh, Michael DeBlees. In addition to Austria, if you could also do Robert Falconbridge in the first scene. And there are a couple of other characters who only have one line each in the first scene, Essex and James Gurney. So let me see if
So Falconbridge, and what were the other two again, Paul?
Robert Falconbridge in the first one in Austria, and then there's just a couple of other scenes, a couple of other characters who just have one line each in scene 1, which you can't do because you're doing Robert Falconbridge there. Is so if Jackie, if you could do Essex, just has one line in the first scene, and Michael Gardner, if you could do James Gurney, he basically comes in with Lady Falconbridge.
What scene is that?
It's in the very first scene.
All right, hold on. I gotta get myself together here. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point, I'm sorry it's taking a little longer before we're getting started. Let's turn off our videos and mute yourselves, and then we will begin. And I'll also stop my video, and then we can all go off and then come on as Kitty reads the stage directions, and we begin.
The Life and Death of King John by William Shakespeare. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter King John, Queen Eleanor, Pembroke, Essex, and Salisbury with the Chatillon of France.
Now say, Chatillon, what would France with us?
Thus, after greeting, speaks the King of France in my behavior to the Majesty, the borrowed Majesty of England here.
A strange beginning. Borrowed Majesty.
Silence, good mother, hear the embassy.
Philip of France, in right and true behalf of thy deceased brother, Geoffrey's son, Arthur Plantagenet, lays most lawful claim to this fair land and the territories, to Ireland, Poitiers, Anjou, Touraine, Maine, desiring thee to lay aside the sword which sways usurpingly these several titles, and put the same into young Arthur's hand, thy nephew and right royal sovereign.
What follows if we disallow of this?
the proud control of fierce and bloody war, to enforce these rights so forcibly withheld.
Here have we war for war and blood for blood, controlment for controlment. So answer France.
Then take my king's defiance from my mouth, the furthest limits of my embassy.
Bear mine to him, and so depart in peace. Be thou as lightning in the eyes of France, for ere thou canst report, I will be there. The thunder of my cannon shall be heard. So hence, be thou the trumpet of our wrath, and sullen presage of your own decay. An honorable conduct let him have. Pembroke, look to it. Farewell, Chatillon.
Now, what now, my son? Have I not ever said how that ambitious Constance would not cease till she had kindled France and all the world upon the right and party of her son? This might have been prevented and made whole with very easy arguments of love, which now the manage of two kingdoms must with fearful bloody issue arbitrate.
Our strong possession and our right for us.
Your strong possession, much more than your right, or else it must go wrong with you and me. So much my conscience whispers in your ear, which none but heaven and you and I shall hear.
Enter a sheriff.
My liege, here is the strangest controversy, come from the country to be judged by you, that ere I heard. Shall I produce the men?
Let them approach. Our abbeys and our priories shall pay the expedition's charge. What men are you?
Enter Robert Falconbridge and Philip.
A faithful subject, I, a gentleman born in Northamptonshire, an eldest son, as I suppose, to Robert Falconbridge, a soldier by the honor-giving hand of Coeur de Lion, knighted in the field.
And what art thou?
The son and heir to that same Falconbridge.
Is that the elder, and art thou the heir? You came not of one mother, then it seems.
Most certain of one mother, mighty king, that is well known, and as I think, one father. But for the certain knowledge of that truth, I put you o'er to heaven and to my mother, of that I doubt, as all men's children may.
Out on thee, rude man! Thou dost shame thy mother and wound her honor with this diffidence.
I, madam, no, I have no reason for it. That is my brother's plea, and none of mine. The which, if he can prove, pops me out, at least from fair £500 a year. Heaven guard my mother's honor and my land.
A good blunt fellow. Why, being younger born, doth he lay claim to thy inheritance?
I know not why, except to get the land. But once he slandered me with bastardy. But where I be as true begot or no, that still I lay upon my mother's head. That I am as well begot, my liege, fair fall the bones that took the pains from me. Compare our faces and be the judge yourself. If old Sir Robert did beget us both, and were our father, and this son like him, oh, old Sir Robert, on my I was not like to thee.
Why, what a madcap hath heaven lent us here.
We have the look of Coeur de Lion's face. The accent of his tongue affecteth him. Do you not read some tokens of my son in the large composition of this man?
Mine eye hath well examined his parts, and finds them perfect Richard. Sirrah, speak. What doth move you to claim your brother's land?
Because he hath a half-face like my father. With half that face, he would have all my land. A half-faced groat, £500 a year.
My gracious liege, when that my father lived, your brother did employ my father much.
Well, sir, by this you cannot get my land. Your tale must be how he employed my mother.
And once dispatched him in an embassy to Germany, there with the emperor to treat of high affairs touching that time. The advantage of his absence took the king, and in the meantime sojourned at my father's. Where how he did prevail, I shame to speak, but truth is truth, large length of seas and shores between my father and my mother lay, as I have heard my father speak himself, when this same lusty gentleman was got. Upon his deathbed, he by will bequeathed his lands to me, and took it on his death that this my mother's son was none of his. And if he were, he came into the world full 14 weeks before the course of time. Then, good my liege, let me have what is mine, my father's land, as was my father's will.
Sirrah, your brother is legitimate. Your father's wife did after wedlock bear him. And if she did play false, the fault was hers, which fault lies on the hazard of all husbands that marry wives. Tell me, how if my brother, who, as you say, took pains to get his son, had of your father claimed this son for his? In sooth, good friend, your father might have kept this calf, bred from his cow, from all the world. In sooth he might. Then, if he were my brother's, my brother might not claim him, nor your father, being none of his, refuse him. This concludes, my mother's son did get your father's heir. Your father's heir must have your father's land.
Shall then my father's will be of no force to dispossess that child which is not his?
Of no more force to dispossess me, sir, than was his will to get me, as I think.
Whether hast thou rather be a Falconbridge, and, like thy brother, to enjoy thy land, or the reputed son of Coeur de Lion, lord of thy presence, and no land beside?
Madam, and if my brother had my shape, and I had his, Sir Robert's his like him, and if my legs were two such riding rods, my arms such eel skin stuff, my face so thin that in mine ear I durst not stick a rose, lest men should say, look where three farthings goes, and to his shape were here to all this land. What I might never stir from off this place, I would give it every foot to have his face. It would not be Sir Nob in any case.
I like thee well. Wilt thou forsake thy fortune, bequeath thy land to him, and follow me? I am a soldier, and now bound to France.
Brother, take you my land, I'll take my chance. Your face hath got £500 a year, yet sell your face for 5 pence, and 'tis dear. Madam, I'll follow you unto the death.
Nay, I would have you go before me thither.
Our country manners give our betters way.
What is thy name?
Philip, my liege, so is my name begun. Philip, good old Sir Robert's wife's eldest son.
From henceforth bear his name, whose form thou bearest. Kneel thou down, Philip, but rise more great. Arise, Sir Richard Plantagenet!
Brother, by the mother's side, give me your hand. My father gave me honor, yours gave land. Now blessed be the hour by night or day when I was got, Sir Robert was away.
The very spirit of Plantagenet. I am thy grandame, Richard. Call me so.
Oh, madam, by chance, but not by truth. What though? Something about a little from the right, in at the window, or else the hatch. Who dares not stir by day must walk by night, and have is have, however men do catch. Near or far off, well won is still well shot. And I am I, howe'er I was begot.
Go, Falconbridge, now hast thou thy desire. A landless knight makes thee a landed squire. Come, madam, and come, Richard, we must speed for France, for it is more than need.
Brother, adieu. Good fortune come to thee, for thou wast got in the way of honesty.
Exit all but bastard.
Foot of honor better than I was, but many foot of land the worse. Well, now can I make any Joan a lady? Good end, Sir Richard, God a mercy, fellow, and if his name be George, I'll call him Peter, for new-made honor doth forget men's names. 'Tis too respective and too sociable for your conversation, now your traveller. he and his toothpick at my worship's mess, and when my nightly stomach is sufficed, why then I suck my teeth and catechize my picked man of countries, my dear sir, thus leaning on my elbow, I begin, I shall beseech you, that is question now, and then comes answer like an absy book, or sir, says answer, at your best command, at your employment, at your service, sir. No, sir, says question, I, sweet sir, at yours, and so ere answer knows what question would, saving in dialogue of compliment, and talking of the Alps and the Apennines, the Pyrenean and the River Po, it draws towards supper in conclusion so. But this is worshipful society, and fits the mounting spirit like myself, for he is but a bastard to the time that doth not smoke of observation, and so am I, whether I smack or no, and not alone inhabit and device exterior form, outward accoutrement, but from the inward motion to deliver sweet, sweet, sweet poison for the age's tooth, which though I will not practice to deceive, yet to avoid deceit I mean to learn, for it shall strew the footsteps of my rising. But who comes in such haste in riding robes? What woman post is this? Hath she no husband that will take pains to blow a horn before her? Oh me, 'tis my mother. How now, good lady? What brings you here to court so hastily?
Enter Lady Falconbridge and James Gurney.
Where is that slave, thy brother? Where is he? That holds in chase mine honor up and down.
My brother Robert, old Sir Robert's son? Colbrand the giant, that same mighty man. Is it Sir Robert's son that you seek so?
Sir Robert's son, I, thou unreverend boy, Sir Robert's son? Why scorn'st thou our Sir Robert? He is Sir Robert's son, and so art thou.
James Gurney, wilt thou give us leave a while?
Oh, yes, I will, as I found the line. I will do, sir. Goodbye.
Philip Sparrow, James, there's toys abroad, anon I'll lend thee, tell thee more. Madam, I was not Sir Robert's son. Sir Robert might have eat his pardon me upon Good Friday, and ne'er broke his fast. Sir Robert could do well, marry to confess, could get me Sir Robert, could not do it. We know his handiwork, therefore, good mother, to whom am I beholding for these limbs? Sir Robert never hoped to make this leg.
Hast thou conspired with thy brother too, that for thine own gain should defense mine honor? What means this scorn, thou most untoward knave?
Knight, good mother, basilico-like. What? I am dubbed, I have it on my shoulder. But mother, I am not Sir Robert's son. I have disclaimed Sir Robert and my land. Legitimation, name, and all is gone. Then, good my mother, let me know my father. Some proper man, I hope. Who was it, mother?
Hast thou denied thyself of Falconbridge?
As faithfully as I deny the devil.
King Richard Coeur de Lion was thy father. By long and vehement suit I was seduced to make room for him in my husband's bed. Heaven lay not my transgression to my charge. Thou art the issue of my dear offense, which was so strongly urged past my defense.
Now by this light, were I to get again, madam, I would not wish a better father. Some sins do bear their privilege on earth, and so doth yours. Your fault was not your folly. Needs must you lay your heart at his dispose, subjected tribute to commanding love, against whose fury and unmatched force the aweless lion could not wage the fight, nor keep his princely heart from Richard's hand. He that perforce robs lions of their heart may easily win a woman's. I, my mother, with all my heart, I thank thee for my father, who lives and dares but say thou didst not well when I was got. I'll send his soul to hell. Come, lady, I will show thee to my kin, and they shall say, when Richard me begot, If thou hadst said him nay, it had been sin. Who says it was? He lies. I say 'twas not.
Second scene. Enter before Angers, Philip, King of France, Louis, Dauphin, Austria, Constance, Arthur.
Before Angers, well met, brave Austria. Arthur, the great forerunner of thy blood. Richard, that robbed the lion of his heart and fought the holy wars in Palestine. By this brave duke came early to his grave, and for amends to his posterity, at our importance hither is he come, to spread his colors, boy, in thy behalf, and to rebuke the usurpation of thy unnatural uncle, English John. Embrace him, love him, give him welcome hither.
God shall forgive thee, Coeur de Lion's death, rather that you give his offspring. Shit, I lost this. Hold on. What page? This thing on the iPad. What page is it on? That's
15.
15?
15.
Yeah, the iPad moves. I'm not. I better. Okay. Right there. Where? Okay.
So I just lost it.
Oh, here we go. Shadowing their right under your wings of war, I give you welcome with powerless hand, but with the heart of unstained love. Welcome before the gates of Angers Duke.
A noble boy, who would not do thee right?
Upon thy cheek lay I this zealous kiss, as seal to this indenture of my love, that to my home I will no more return till Angers and the right thou hast in France, together with that pale, that white-faced shore, whose foot spurns back the ocean's roaring tides, and coops from other lands her islanders, even till that England hedged in with the main, that water-walled bulwark, still secure and confident from foreign purposes, even till that utmost corner of the west salute thee for her king. Till then, fair boy, will I not think of home, but follow army.
Oh, take his mother's thanks, a widow's thanks, till your strong hand shall help to give him strength to make a more requital to your love.
The peace of heaven is theirs, ye lift their swords in such a just and charitable war.
Well then to work. Our canyons shall be bent against the brows of this resisting town. Call for our chiefest men of discipline to cull the plots of best advantages. We'll lay before this town our royal bones, wade to the marketplace in Frenchmen's blood, but we will make it subject to this boy.
Stay for an answer to your embassy, lest unadvised you stain your swords with blood. My lord Chatillon may from England bring that right in peace, which here we urge in war, and then we shall repent each drop of blood, that hot, rash haste so indirectly shed.
Enter Chatillon.
Oh, wonder lady, lo upon thy wish, our messenger. Chatillon has arrived. What English says, say briefly, gentle lord. We coldly pause for thee. Chatillon, speak.
Morna, you're muted. Unmute, please.
Then turn your forces from this paltry siege and stir them up against a mightier task. England, impatient of your just demands, hath put himself in arms. The adverse winds whose leisure I have stayed have given him time to land his legions, all as soon as I. His marches are expedient to this town, his forces strong, his soldiers confident. With him along is come the mother queen, an ace stirring him to blood and strife, with her niece, with her the niece, the Lady Blanche of Spain, with them a bastard of the king's deceased, and all the unsettled humors of the land, rash, inconsiderate, fiery voluntaries, with ladies' faces and fierce dragon spleens, have sold their fortunes at their native homes, bearing their birthrights proudly on their backs, to make a hazard of new fortunes here. In brief, a braver choice of dauntless spirits than now the English bottoms have waft o'er. did never float upon the swelling tide to do offense and scathe in Christendom. The interruption none cuts off more circumstance. They are at hand.
How much unlooked for is this expedition?
By how much unexpected, by so much we must awake endeavor for defense, for courage mounteth with occasion. Let them be welcome then, we are prepared.
Enter King of England, Bastard, Queen Blanche, Pembroke, and others.
Peace be to France, if France in peace permit our just and lineal entrance to our own. If not, bleed, France, and peace ascend to heaven, whilst we, God's wrathful agent, do correct their proud contempt that beats his peace to heaven.
Peace be to England, if thou war return from France to England, there to live in peace. England we love, and for that England's sake, with burden of our armor, here we sweat. This toil of ours should be a work of thine. But thou from loving England art so far that thou hast underwrought his lawful king, cut off the sequence of posterity, outfaced infant state, and done a rape upon the maiden virtue of the crown. Look here upon thy brother Geoffrey's face. These eyes, these brows were molded out of his. This little abstract doth contain that large which died in Geoffrey, and the hand of time shall draw this brief into as large a volume, that Geoffrey was thy elder brother born, and that his son England was Geoffrey's right, and this is Geoffrey's. In the name of God, here comes it then that thou art called the king, when living blood doth in these temples beat, which own the crown that thou overmasterest.
From whom hast thou this great commission, France, to draw my answer from thy articles?
From that supernal judge that stirs good thoughts in any breast of strong authority, to look into the blots and stains of right that judge hath made me guardian to this boy, under whose warrant I impeach thy wrong, and by whose help I mean to chastise it.
Alack, thou dost usurp authority.
Excuse it is to beat, usurping down.
Who is it thou dost call usurper, friend?
Let me make answer. Thy usurping son.
Out! Insolent! Thy bastard shall be king, that thou mayst be a queen and check the world.
My bed was ever to thy son as true as thine was to thy husband, and this boy liker in feature to his father Geoffrey than thou and John, in manners being as like, as rain to water, or devil to his dam. My boy, a bastard, by my soul, I think his father never was so true begot. It cannot be, and if thou wert his mother.
There's a good mother, boy, that blots thy father.
There's a good grandam, boy, that would blot thee.
Peace!
Oh, hear the crier.
What the devil art thou?
One that will play devil, sir, with you, and may catch your hide and you alone. You are the hare of whom the proverb goes, whose valor plucks dead lions by the beard. I'll smoke your skin coat and I catch you right. Sirrah, look to it. In faith I will, in faith.
Blanche.
Blanche?
Kitty, that's you, Blanche?
Oh, sorry.
On your video.
I just got so into reading the stage directions.
Sorry.
Oh, well did he become that lion's robe, that did disrobe the lion of that robe.
Oh, it lies as slightly on the back of him as great Alcides' shoes upon an ass. But ass, I'll take that burden from your back, or lay on that shall make your shoulders crack.
What cracker is this saying that deafs our ears with its abundance of superfluous breath? King Louis, determine what we shall do straight.
Women and fools, break off your conference. King John, this is the very sum of all. England and Ireland, Angiers, Touraine, in right of Arthur do I claim of thee. Wilt thou resign them and lay down thy arms?
My life is soon. I do defy thee, France. Arthur of Britain, yield thee to my hand, and out of my dear love I'll give thee more than e'er the coward hand of France can win. Submit thee, boy.
Come to thy grandame, child.
Oh, do, child, go to your grandame, child. Give grandame kingdom, and it grandame will give you a plum, a cherry, and a fig. There's a good grandame.
Good my mother, peace. I would that I were low and laid in my grave. I am not worth this coil that's made for me.
His mother shames him so. Poor boy, he weeps.
Now shame upon you where she does or no. His grandam's wrongs and not his mother's shame straws these heaven-moving pearls from his poor eyes, which heaven shall take in nature for a fee. Aye, with these crystal beads heaven shall be bribed to do him justice and revenge on you.
Thou monstrous slanderer of heaven and earth!
Thou monstrous injurer of heaven and earth! Call not me slanderer, thou and thine usurp the dominations, royalties, and rights of this oppressed boy. This is thy elder son's son, infortunate in nothing but in thee. Thy sins are visited in this poor child. The canon of the law is laid on him, being but the second generation removed from thy sin-conceiving womb.
Bedlam have done.
I have but this to say, that he is not only plagued for her son, but God hath made her sin and her the plague on this removed issue, plagued for her, and with her plague, her sin. His injury, her injury, the beetle to her sin, all punished in the person of this child, and all for her, plague upon her.
Thou unadvised scold, I can produce a will that bars the title of thy son.
Aye, who doubts that? A will, a wicked will, a woman's will, a cankered grandame's will.
Oh, peace, lady, pause, or be more temperate. It ill beseems this presence to cry aim to these ill-tuned repetitions. Some trumpet, summon hither to the walls these men of Angiers. Let us hear them speak, whose title they admit, Arthur's or John's.
Trumpet sounds, enter a citizen upon the walls.
Who is it that has warned us to the walls?
This France, for England.
England for itself. You men of Angiers and my loving subjects.
Thank you.
You loving men of Angiers, Arthur's subjects. Our trumpet called you to this gentle parley.
For our advantage, therefore hear us first. These flags of France that are advanced here before the eye and prospect of your town have hither marched to your endamagement. The cannons have their bowels full of wrath, and ready mounted are they to spit forth the iron indignation against your walls, all preparation for a bloody siege and merciless proceeding by these French. Comfort your city's eyes, your winking gates, and but for our approach, those sleeping stones that as a waste doth girdle you about by the compulsion of their ordinance, by this time from their fixed beds of lime hath been dishabited, and wide havoc made for bloody power to rush upon your peace. But on the sight of us, your lawful king, who painfully with much expedient march have brought a countercheck before your gates to save unscratched your city's threatened cheeks, behold, the French, amazed, vouchsafe a parle, and now instead of bullets wrapped in fire to make a shaking fever in your walls, they shoot but calm words, folded up in smoke, to make a faithless error in your eyes. which trust accordingly, kind citizens, and let us in. Your king, whose labored spirits fore-wearied in this action of swift speed, craves harborage within your city walls.
When I have said, make answer to us both, lo, in this right hand, whose protection is most divinely vowed upon the right. Of him it holds, stands young Plantagenet, son to the elder brother of this man, and king over him in all that he enjoys. For this downtrodden equity we tread, in warlike march these greens before your town, being no further enemy to you than the constraint of hospitable zeal in the relief of this oppressed child religiously provokes. Be pleased then to pay that duty which you truly owe to him that owns it, namely this young prince. And then our arms, like to a muzzle bear, save in aspect, hath all offense sealed up. Our canyon's malice vainly shall be spent against the invulnerable clouds of heaven, and with a blessed and undexed retire, with unhacked swords and helmets all unbruised, we will bear home that lusty blood again, which here we came to spout against your town, and leave your children, wives, and you in peace. But if you fondly pass our profit offered, 'tis not the roundure of your old-faced walls can hide you from our messengers of war. Though all these English in their discipline were harbored in their rude circumference, then tell us, shall your city call us lord in that behalf which we have challenged it, or shall we give the signal to our rage and stalk in blood to our possession?
In brief, we are the King of England's subjects. For him and in his right we hold this town.
Acknowledge then the king and let me in.
That we cannot. But he that proves the king, to him will we prove loyal till that time have we rammed up our gates against the world.
Doth not the crown of England prove the king? And if not that, I bring you witnesses, twice 15,000 hearts of England's breed.
Bastards and else.
To verify our title with their lives.
As many in as well-born bloods as those.
Some bastards too.
Stand in his face to contradict his claim.
Till you compound whose right is worthiest, we for the worthiest hold the right from both.
Then God forgive the sins of all those souls that to their everlasting residence before the dew of evening's fall shall fleet in dreadful trial of our kingdom's king.
Amen. Amen. Mount, Chevaliers, to arms!
St. George that swing the dragon, and e'er since sits on horseback at mine host's door, teach us some fence. Sirrah, were I at home at your den, sirrah, with your lioness, I would set an ox head to your lion's hide and make a monster of you.
Peace no more.
Oh, tremble, for you hear the lion roar.
Up higher to the plain, where we'll set forth in best appointment all our regiments.
Speed then to take advantage of the field.
It shall be so, and at the other hill command the rest to stand. Guard and our right.
Here, exit hereafter excursions. Enter the herald of France with trumpets to the gates.
Morna, could you do that, the French herald?
Did you? I'm sorry?
That should be sort of a continuum of Chatillon. So, Morna, are you there? Can you do that? Page 28, middle.
I got it. You men of Angiers, open wide your gates and let young Arthur, Duke of Britain, in, who by the hand of France this day hath made much work for tears in many an English mother, whose sons lie scattered on the bleeding ground. Many a widow's husband groveling lies, coldly embracing the discolored earth, and victory with little loss doth play upon the dancing banners of the French, who are at hand triumphantly displayed to enter conquerors and to proclaim Arthur of Britain, England's king and yours.
Enter English herald with trumpet.
Read to him too?
No, could Sean, could you do that? The English herald?
Rejoice, you men of Angers, ring your bells. King John, your king and England's doth approach. Commander of this hot malicious day, their armors that march hence so silver bright, hither return all gilt with Frenchmen's blood. There stuck no plume in any English crest that is removed by a staff of France. Our colors do return in those same hands that did display them when we first marched forth, and like a jolly troop of huntsmen's come, our lusty English, all with purpled hands, did in the dying slaughter of their foes open your gates and give the victors way.
Heralds, from off our towers we might behold from first to last the onset and retire of both your armies, whose equality by our best eyes cannot be censured. Blood hath bought blood, and blows have answered blows. Strength matched with strength, and power confronted power. Both are alike, and both alike we like. One must prove greatest. While they weigh so even, we hold our town for neither, yet for both.
Enter the two kings with their powers at several doors.
France, hast thou yet more blood to cast away? Say, shall the current of our right roam on, whose passage, vexed with thy impediment, shall leave his native channel, and o'erswell with course disturbed even thy confining shores, unless thou let his silver water keep a peaceful progress to the ocean?
England, thou hast not saved one drop of blood in this hot trial, more than we of France, rather lost more. And by this hand I swear that sways the earth this climate overlooks, before we will lay down our just born arms, we put thee down, against whom these arms we bear, or add a royal number to the dead, gracing the scroll that tells of this war's loss, with slaughter coupled to the name of kings.
Ha! Majesty, how high thy glory towers when the rich blood of kings is set on fire. Oh, now doth death line his dead chaps with steel. The swords of soldiers are his teeth, his fangs, and now he feasts, mousing the flesh of men in undeterminate differences of kings. Why stand these royal fronts amazed thus? Cry havoc, kings! Back to the stained field, you equal potents, fiery kindled spirits. Then let confusion of one part confirm the other's peace. Till then, blows, blood, and death.
Whose party do the townsmen yet admit?
Big citizens for England, who's your king?
The King of England, when we know the king.
Know him in us, that here holds up his right.
In us that are our own great deputy, and bear possession of our person here, Lord of our presence, and jeers, and of you.
There's
Our
a
friend?
citizen. It's not me.
Yeah, it's you, France. A greater
It
power.
says citizen.
We're on, I don't, no, I just said,
Then there's a bastard. It says.
yeah, no, but you have, I just said, in us that are our own great deputy and bear possession of our person here, Lord of our presence, and jeers, and of you.
Well,
Middle of 31.
A greater power than we denies all this, until it be undoubted we do lock our former scruple in our strong barred gates. Kings of our fair, until our fears resolved by some certain king purged and disposed.
Oh, by heaven, these scroils of Angiers flout you, kings, and stand securely on their battlements as in a theatre, whence they gape and point at your industrious scenes and acts of death. Your royal presences be ruled by me. Do like the mutinies of Jerusalem. Be friends a while, and both conjointly bend your sharpest deeds of malice on this town. By east and west let France and England mount their battering cannon, charge to the mouth till their soul-fearing clamors have brawled down the flinty ribs of this contemptuous city. I'd play incessantly upon these jades, till even unfenced desolation leave them as naked as the vulgar air. That done, dissever your united strengths, and part your mingled colors once again, turn face to face, and bloody point to point. Then, in a moment, fortune shall cull forth out of one side her happy minion, to whom in favor she shall give the day, and kiss him with a glorious victory. How like you to this wild counsel, mighty states? Smacks it not something of the policy?
Now, by the sky that hangs above our heads, I like it well. France, shall we knit our powers and lay this Angiers even with the ground? Then after fight, who shall be king of it?
And if thou hast the mettle of a king, being wronged as we are by this peevish town, turn thou the mouth of thy artillery, as we will ours, against these saucy walls. And when that we have dashed them to the ground, why then defy each other, and pell-mell make work upon ourselves for heaven or for hell.
Let it be so. Say, where will you assault?
We from the west will send destruction into this city's bosom.
I from the north.
Our thunder from the south shall rain their drift of bullets on this town.
Oh, prudent discipline from north to south, Austria and France shoot in each other's mouth. I'll stir them to it. Come, away, away.
Hear us, great kings. Vouchsafe a while to stay, and I shall show you peace and fair-faced league. Win you this city without stroke or wound. Rescue those breathing lives to die in beds, that here come sacrifices for the field. Persever not, but hear me, mighty kings.
Speak on, with favor we are bent to hear.
That daughter there of Spain, the Lady Blanche, is near to England. Look upon the years of Louis, the Dauphin, that lovely maid. If lusty love should go in quest of beauty, where should he find it fairer than in Blanche? If zealous love should go in search of virtue, where should he find it purer than in Blanche? If love, ambitious, sought a match of birth, whose veins bound richer blood than Lady Blanche, such as she is in beauty, virtue, birth, is the young Dauphin every way complete. If not complete of, say, he is not she, and she again wants nothing, the name want, if want it be not that she is not he. He is the half part of a blessed man, left to be finished by such as she, and she a fair divided excellence, whose fullness of perfection lies in him. Oh, two such silver currents, when they join, do glorify the banks that bound them in. And two such shores, to two such streams made one, two such controlling bounds shall you be kings, to these two princes, if you marry them. This union shall do more than battery can to our fast closed gates. For if this match with swifter spleen than powder can enforce, the mouth of passage shall we fling wide ope, and give you entrance. But without this match, the sea enraged is not half so deaf. Lions more confident, mountains and rocks more free from motion. No, not death himself in mortal fury, half so peremptory as we to keep this city.
Oh, here's a stay that shakes the rotten carcass of old death out of his rags. Here's a large mouth indeed that spits forth death and mountains, rocks, and seas, talks as familiarly as roaring lions, as maids of 13 do of puppy dogs. What cannoneer begot this lusty blood? He keeps plain cannon fire and smoke and bounce. He give the bastinado with his tongue. Our ears are cudgeled. Not a word of his but buffets better than a fist of France. Zounds, I was never so bethumped with words since I first called my brother's father Dad.
Son, list to this conjunction. Make this match. Give with our niece a dowry large enough, for by this knot thou shalt so surely tie thy now unsured assurance to the ground, that yon green boy shall have no son to ripe the bloom that promiseth a mighty fruit. I see a yielding in the looks of France. How they whisper, urge them while their souls are capable of this ambition, lest zeal, now melted with the windy breath of soft petitions, pity, and remorse, cool and congeal again to what it was.
Why answer not the double majesties, this friendly treaty of our threatened town?
Speak England first, that hath been forward thirst to speak unto the city. What say you?
If that the dolphin there, thy princely son, can in this book of beauty read I love, her dowry shall weigh equal with the queen. For Angiers and fair Touraine, Maine, Poitiers, and all that we upon this side the sea, except this city now by us besieged, find liable to our crown and dignity, shall gild her bridal bed and make her rich in titles, honors, and promotions, as she in beauty, education, blood holds hand with any princess of the world.
What sayest thou, boy? Look in the lady's face.
I do, my lord, and in her eye I find a wonder, or a wondrous miracle, the shadow of myself formed in her eye, which being but the shadow of your son, becomes a sun and makes your son a shadow. I never loved myself till now, in face as I beheld myself, drawn in the flattering table of her eye.
Whispers with Blanche.
Ugh. Drawn in the flattering table of her eye, hanged in the frowning wrinkle of her brow, and quartered in her heart, he doth espy himself love's traitor. This is pity now, that hanged and drawn and quartered there should be in such a love so vile a lout as he.
My uncle's will in this respect is mine. If he see aught in you that makes him like that anything he sees which moves his liking, I can with ease translate it to my will. Or if you will, to speak more properly, I will enforce it easily to my love. Further, I will not flatter you, my lord, that all I see in you is worthy love. Then this, that nothing do I see in you, though churlish thoughts themselves should be your judge, that I can find should merit any hate.
What say these young ones? What say you, my niece?
That she is bound in honor still to do. What? That she is bound in honor still to do what you in wisdom still vouchsafe to say.
Well, speak then, Prince Dolphin. Can you love this lady?
Nay, ask me if I can refrain from love, for I do love her most unfeignedly.
Then I do give Volquessen, Touraine, Maine, Poitiers, and Anjou, these 5 provinces with her to thee, and this addition more, full 30,000 marks of English coin. Philip of France, if thou be pleased withal, command thy son and daughter to join hands.
It likes us well. Young princes, close your hands.
And your lips too, for I am well assured that I did so when I was first assured.
Now, citizens of Angiers, open your gates. Let in that amity which you have made. For at St. Mary's Chapel presently the rites of marriage shall be solemnized. Is not the Lady Constance in this troop? I know she is not, for this match made up, her presence would have interrupted much. Where is she and her son? Tell me who knows.
He is sad and passionate at your highness's tent.
And by my faith, this league that we have made will give her sadness very little cure. Brother of England, how may we content this widow lady? In her right we came, which we, God knows, have turned another way to our own advantage.
Oh, we will heal up all, for we'll create young Arthur, Duke of Britain and Earl of Richmond, and this rich fair town we make him lord of. Call the Lady Constance, some speedy messenger, bid her repair to our solemnity. I trust we shall, if not fill up the measure of her will, yet in some measure satisfy her so that we shall stop her exclamation. Go, we as well as hast will suffer us to this unlooked for, unprepared pomp.
He exits.
Mad world, mad kings, mad composition. John, to stop Arthur's title in the whole, hath willingly departed with a part, and France, whose armor conscience buckled on, whom zeal and charity brought to the field as God's own soldier, rounded in the ear. With that same purpose changer, that sly devil, that broker, that still breaks the pate of faith, that daily break vow, he that wins of all, of kings, of beggars, old men, young men, maids, who, having no external thing to lose but the word maid, cheats the poor maid of that smooth-faced gentleman tickling commodity. Commodity, the bias of the world who of itself is paced well, made to run even upon even ground, till this advantage, this vile drawing bias, this sway of motion, this commodity, makes it take head from all indifferency, from all direction, purpose, course, intent, and this same bias, this commodity, this bawd, this broker, this all-changing word, clapped on the outward eye of fickle France, hath drawn him from his own determined aid, from a resolved and honorable war, to a most base and vile concluded peace. And why rail I on this commodity? But for because he hath not wooed me yet. Not that I have the power to clutch my hand when his fair angels would salute my palm, but for my hand, as unattempted yet, like a poor beggar raileth on the rich. Well, whiles I am a beggar, I will rail, and say there is no sin but to be rich, and being rich, my virtue then shall be to say there is no vice but beggary. Since kings break faith upon commodity, gain be my lord, for I will worship thee.
Second act. Enter Constance, Arthur, and Salisbury.
Gone to be married? Gone to swear a peace? False blood to false blood joined. Gone to be friends? Shall Louis have Blanche and Blanche those provinces? It is not so. Thou hast misspoke. Misheard. Be well advised. Tell o'er thy tale again. It cannot be. Thou dost but say 'tis so. I trust I may not trust thee, for thy word is but the vain breath of a common man. Believe me, I do not believe thee, man. I have a king's oath to the contrary. Thou shalt be punished for thus frighting me, for I am sick and capable of fears, oppressed with wrongs, and therefore full of fears. A widow, husbandless, subject to fears. A woman naturally born to fears. And though thou now confess thou didst but jest with my vexed spirit, I cannot take a truce, but they will quake and tremble all this day. What dost thou mean by shaking of thy head? Why dost thou look so sadly on my son? What means this hand upon thy breast of thine? Why holds thine eye that lamentable room like a proud river peering o'er his bounds? Be these sad signs confirmers of thy words. Speak again, not all thy former tale, but this one word, whether thy tale be true.
As true as I believe you think them false, that give you cause to prove my saying true.
If thou teach me to believe this sorrow, teach thou this sorrow how to make me die. And let belief and life encounter so as doth the fury of two desperate men, which in the very meeting fall and die. Lewis, Mary, Blanche. Oh, boy, where art thou? France, friend with England. What becomes of me? Fellow, be gone, I cannot brook thy sight. This news hath made thee a most ugly man.
What other harm have I, good lady, done, but spoke the harm that is by others done?
Which harm within itself so heinous is, as it makes harmful all that speak of it.
I do beseech ye, madam, be content.
If thou that bidst me be content were grim, ugly, and slanderous to thy mother's womb, full of unpleasing blots and sightless stains, lame, foolish, crooked, swart, prodigious, patched with foul moles and eye-offending marks, I would not care. I then would be content. For then I should not love thee. No, nor thy become thy great birth, nor deserve a crown. Thou art fair, and at thy birth, dear boy, nature and fortune join to make thee great. Of nature's gifts thou mayest with lilies boast, and with the half-blown rose. But fortune, oh, she is corrupted, changed, and won from thee. She adulterates hourly with thine uncle John, and with her golden hand hath plucked on France to tread down fair respect of sovereignty, and made his majesty the bawd to theirs. France is a bawd to fortune and King John. That strumpet fortune, that usurping John. Tell me, thou fellow, is not France forsworn? Envenom him with words, or get thee gone, and leave these woes alone, which I alone am bound to underbear.
Pardon me, madam, I may not go without you to the king's.
Thou mayest, thou shalt. I will not go with thee. I will instruct my sorrows to be proud, for grief is proud and makes his owner stoop. To me, and to the state of my great grief, let's kings assemble, for my grief so great that no supporter but the huge firm earth can hold it up. Here, I and sorrows sit. Here is my throne. Bid kings come bow to it.
Enter King John, France, Dauphin, Blanche, Eleanor, Philip, Austria, Constance.
"'Tis true, dear daughter, and this blessed day ever in France shall be kept festival. To solemnize this day, the glorious sun stays in its course, and plays the alchemist, turning with splendor of his precious eye the meager cloddy earth to glittering gold. The yearly course that brings this day about shall never see it but a holy day."
a wicked day and not a holy day. What hath this day deserved? What hath it done that in golden letters should be set amongst the high tides in the calendar? Day. Rather tune this day out of the week, this day of shame, oppression, perjury. Or if it must stand still, let wives with child pray that their burdens may not fall this day, lest that their hopes prodigiously be crossed. But on this day, let seamen fear no rack, no bargains break that are not this day made. This day, all things begun come to an ill end, yea, faith itself to hollow falsehood change.
By heaven, lady, you shall have no cause to curse the fair proceedings of this day. Have not I pawned to you my majesty?
You have beguiled me with a counterfeit, resembling majesty, which being touched and tried proves valueless. You are forsworn, forsworn. You came in arms to spill mine enemy's blood, and now in arms you strengthen it with yours. The grappling vigor, the rough frown of war is cold in amity and painted peace, and our oppression hath made up this league. Arm, arm you heavens. Arm you heavens against these perjured kings. A widow cries, be husband to me, heavens. Let not the hours of this ungodly day wear out the days in peace, but ere sunset, set armed discord twixt these perjured kings. Hear me. Oh, hear me.
Lady Constance, peace.
War! War, no peace. Peace is to me a war. Oh, Limoges, oh, Austria, thou dost shame that bloody spoil. Thou slave, thou wretch, thou coward, thou little valiant, great in villainy, thou ever strong upon the stronger side. Thou fortune champion, thou dost never fight, but when her humorous ladyship is by to teach thee safety. Thou art perjured too, and soothed of greatness. Oh, what a fool thou art, a rambling fool to brag and stamp and swear upon my party. Thou cold-blooded slave. Hast thou not spoke like thunder on my side? Been sworn my soldier, bidding me depend upon thy stars, thy fortune, and thy strength? And dost thou now fool over to my foes? Thou wear a lion's hide, doff it for shame, and hang a calf skin on those recreant limbs.
Oh, that a man should speak those words to me.
And hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
Thou darest not say so, villain, for thy life.
And hang a calfskin on those recreant limbs.
We like not this. Thou dost forget thyself.
Enter Pandulph.
Here comes the holy legate of the Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Pandulph, is he?
I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now. Hail, oh, hail, you anointed deputies of heaven. To thee, King John, my holy errand is. I, Pandulph, of fair Milan Cardinal, and for Pope Innocent the legate here, do in his name religiously demand why thou against the church, our holy mother, so willfully dost spurn and force perforce keep Stephen Langton, chosen Archbishop of Canterbury, from that holy see. That this in our foresaid Holy Father's name, Pope Innocent, I do demand of thee.
What earthy names to interrogatories can task the free breath of a sacred king? Thou canst not, Cardinal, devise a name so slight, unworthy, and ridiculous to charge me to an answer as the Pope. Tell him this tale, and from the mouth of England add this much more, that no Italian priest shall tithe or toil in our dominions, but as we under heaven our supreme head, so under him that great supremacy where we do reign, we will alone uphold without the assistance of a mortal hand. So tell the Pope, all reverence set apart, to him and his usurped authority.
Oh, brother of England, you blaspheme me in this.
Though you and all the kings of Christendom are led so grossly by this meddling priest, dreading the curse that money may buy out, and by the merit of vile gold, dross, dust, purchase corrupted pardon of a man, who in the sale sells pardon from himself. Though you and all the rest so grossly led this juggling witchcraft with revenue cherish, yet I alone do me oppose against the Pope, and count his friends my foes.
Then by the lawful power that I have, thou shalt stand cursed and excommunicate. And blessed shall be that he that doth revolt from his allegiance to a heretic. And meritorious shall that hand be called, canonized and worshipped as a saint that takes away by any secret course thy hateful life.
Oh, lawful let it be that I have room with Rome to curse a while. Good Father Cardinal, cry thou amen to my keen curses, for without my wrong, there is no tongue hath power to curse him right.
There's law and warrant, lady, for my curse.
And for mine too, when law can do no right. Let it be lawful that law bar no wrong. Law cannot give my child his kingdom here, for he that holds his kingdom holds the law. Therefore, since law itself is perfectly wrong, how can the law forbid my tongue to curse?
Philip of France, on peril of a curse, let go the hand of that arch heretic, and raise the power of France upon his head, unless he do submit himself to Rome.
Look'st thou pale, France? Do not let go thy hand.
To thou devil, that devil, lest that France repent, and by destroying hands, hell lose a soul.
Oh, where am I? Is it me now?
No, it's Austria. King Philip. Listen to the cardinal.
I'm sorry,
It's in the middle of page 51, King Philip.
King Philip, listen to the cardinal.
And hang a calfskin on his recreant limbs.
Well, ruffian, I must pocket up these wrongs, because
your breeches best may carry them.
Philip, what sayest thou to the cardinal?
What should he say, but as the cardinal?
Thank you, Father, for the difference is purchase of a heavy curse from Rome, or the light loss of England for a friend. Forgo the easier.
That's the curse of Rome.
O Louis, stand fast. The devil tempts thee here in likeness of a new untrimmed bride.
The Lady Constance speaks not from her faith, but from her need.
Oh, if thou grant my need, which only lives but by the death of faith, that need must needs infer this principle, that faith would live again by death of need. Oh, then tread down my need, and faith mounts up. Keep my need up, and faith is trodden down.
The king is moved and answers not to this.
Be removed from him and answer well.
Do so, King Philip. Hang no more in doubt.
Oh, hang nothing but a calfskin, most sweet lout.
I am perplexed and know not what to say.
What canst thou say but will perplex thee more, if thou standst excommunicate and cursed?
Good Reverend Father, make my person yours and tell me how you would bestow yourself. This royal hand and mine are newly knit, and the conjunction of our inward souls married in league, coupled and linked together, with all religious strength of sacred vows. The latest breath that gave the sounds of words was deep-sworn faith, peace, amity, true love between our kingdoms and our royal selves. And even before this truth that knew before, no longer then we well could wash our hands to clap this royal bargain up for peace. Heaven knows they would be smeared and overstained with slaughter's pencil, where revenge did paint the fearful difference of incensed kings. And shall these hands so lately purge the blood, so newly joined in love, so strong in both, unyoke this seizure and this kind regret, play fast and loose with faith, so jest with heaven, make such unconstant children of ourselves, as now again to snatch our palm from palm, unswear faith sworn, and on the marriage bed of smiling peace to march a bloody host, and make a riot on the gentle brow of true sincerity? Oh, holy sir, my reverend father, let it not be so. Out of your grace, devise, ordain, impose some gentle order, and then we shall be blessed to do your pleasure and continue friends.
All form is formless, orderless, save what is opposite to England's love. Therefore to arms, be champion of our church, or let the church, our mother, breathe her curse, a mother's curse, on her revolting son. France, thou mayest hold a serpent by the tongue, a caged lion by the mortal paw, a fasting tiger safer by the tooth, than keep in peace that hand which thou dost hold.
I may disjoin my hand, but not my faith.
So mayest thou faith an enemy to faith, and like a civil war sets oaths to oaths, thy tongue against thy tongue. Let thy vow first made to heaven first be heaven performed. That is to be the champion of our church. What, since thou sworest, is sworn against thyself, and may not be performed by thyself. For that which thou hast sworn to do amiss is not amiss when it is truly done. And being not done, what doing tends to ill, the truth is then most done not doing it. The better act of purposes mistook is to mistake again, though indirect. Yet indirection thereby grows direct, and falsehood cures, as fire cools fire within the scorched veins of one new burned. It is religion that doth make vows kept, but thou hast sworn against religion, by what thou swearest against the thing thou swearest, and makes an oath the surety for thy truth against an oath the truth. Thou art sure to swear. Swears only not to be forsworn, else what a mockery should it be to swear? But thou dost swear, only to be forsworn, and most forsworn to keep what thou dost swear. Therefore thy later vows against thy first is in thyself rebellion to thyself. And better conquest never canst thou make than arm thy constant and thy nobler parts against these giddy, loose suggestions, upon which better part our prayers come in, if thou vouchsafe them. But if not, then know the peril of our curses light on thee so heavy as thou shalt not shake them off, but in despair die under their black weight.
Rebellion, flat rebellion.
Oh, will it not be? Will not a calfskin stop that mouth of thine?
Father, to arms.
Upon thy wedding day, against the blood that thou hast married? What, shall our feast be kept with slaughtered men? Shall braying trumpets and loud churlish drums, clamors of hell, be measures to our pomp? O husband, hear me. Ay, alack, how new is husband in my mouth, even for that name which till this time my tongue did ne'er pronounce. Upon my knee, I beg, go not to arms against mine uncle.
Upon my knee, made hard with kneeling, I do pray to thee, thou virtuous Dauphin, alter not the doom forethought by heaven.
Now shall I see thy love. What motive may be stronger with thee than the name of wife.
That which upholdeth him, that thee upholds his honor. Oh, thine honor, Louis, thine honor.
Amuse your majesty does seem so cold. With such profound respect still pull you on?
I will denounce a curse upon his head.
Oh, thou shalt not need. England, I will fall from thee.
Their return of banished majesty.
Oh, foul revolt of French inconstancy.
France, thou shalt rue this hour within this hour.
Oh, Time, the clock setter, thou bald sexton Time, is it as he will? Well then, France shall rue.
The sun's o'ercast with blood. Fair day adieu. Which is the side that I must go withal? I am with both. Each army hath a hand, and in their rage, I having hold of both, they whirl asunder and dismember me. Husband, I cannot pray that thou mayst win. Uncle, I needs must pray that thou mayst lose. Father, I may not wish the fortune thine. Grandam, I will not wish thy wishes thrive. Whoever wins, on that side shall I lose. Assured lost, before the match be played.
Lady, with me thy fortune lies.
There where my fortune lives, there my life dies.
Cousin, go draw our puissance together. France, I am burned up with inflaming wrath, a rage whose heat hath this condition that nothing can allay, nothing but blood, the blood and dearest valued blood of France.
Thy rage shall burn thee up, and thou shalt turn to ashes ere our blood shall quench that fire. Look to thyself. Thou art in jeopardy.
No more than he that threats. To arms, let's hie!
Second act. Alarums, excursions enter, bastard with Austria's head.
Now, by my life, the day grows wondrous hot. Some airy devil hovers in the sky and pours down mischief. Austria's head, lie there, while Philip breathes.
Enter John Arthur Hubert.
Hubert, keep this boy. Philip, make up. My mother is assailed in our tent, and ta'en, I fear.
Oh, my lord, I rescued her. Her highness is in safety, fear you not, but on my liege, for very little pains will bring this labor to a happy end.
Alarums, excursions, retreat. Enter John, Eleanor, Arthur, Bastard, Hubert, lords.
So shall it be. Your grace shall stay behind, so strongly guarded. Cousin, look not sad. Thy grandam loves thee, and thy uncle will as dear be to thee as thy father was.
Oh, this will make my mother die of grief.
Cousin, away for England, haste before, and ere our coming see thou shake the bags of hoarding abbots, imprisoned angels set at liberty. The fat ribs of peace must be the hungry now be fed upon. Use our commission in his utmost force.
Bell, book, and candle shall not drive me back, when gold and silver becks me to come on. I leave your highness. Grandam, I will pray, if ever I remember to be holy, for your fair safety, so I kiss your hand.
Farewell, gentle cousin.
Coz, farewell.
Come hither, little kinsman. Hark, a word.
Come hither, Hubert. Oh, my gentle Hubert, we owe thee much. Within this wall of flesh there is a soul counts thee her creditor, and with advantage means to pay thy love. And my good friend, thy voluntary oath lives in this bosom dearly cherished. Give me thy hand. I had a thing to say, but I will fit it with some better tune. By heaven, Hubert, I am almost ashamed to say what good respect I have of thee.
I am much bounden to your majesty.
Good friend, thou hast no cause to say so yet, but thou shalt have, and creep time ne'er so slow, yet it shall come for me to do thee good. I had a thing to say, but let it go. The sun is in the heaven, and the proud day, attended with the pleasures of the world, is all too wanton and too full of gauds to give me audience. If the midnight bell did with his iron tongue and brazen mouth sound unto the drowsy race of night, if this same were a churchyard where we stand, and thou possessed with 1,000 wrongs, or if that surly spirit melancholy had baked thy blood and made it heavy, thick, which else runs tickling up and down the veins, making that idiot laughter keep men's eyes as strain their cheeks to idle merriment, a passion hateful to my purposes. Or if that thou couldst see me without eyes, hear me without thine ears, and make reply without a tongue, using conceit alone, without eyes, ears, and harmful sound of words, then in despite of brooded watchful day, I would into thy bosom pour my thoughts, but I will not yet. I love thee well, and by my troth, I think thou lovest me well.
So well that what you bid me undertake, though that my death were adjunct to my act, by heaven I would do it.
Do not I know thou wouldst? Good Hubert, 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 throw thine eye on yon young boy. I tell thee what, my friend, he is a very serpent in my way, and wheresoe'er this foot of mine doth tread, he lies before me. Dost thou understand me? Thou art his keeper.
And I'll keep him so, that he shall not offend your majesty.
Death.
My lord.
A grave.
He shall not live.
Enough. I would be merry now. Hubert, I love thee. Well, I'll not say what I intend for thee. Remember. Madam, fare you well. I'll send those powers o'er to your majesty.
My blessing go with thee.
For England, cousin, go. Hubert shall be your man, attend on you with all true duty. On toward Calais, ho!
Act 3, Scene 3. Enter France, Dauphin, Pandolfo, attendants.
So by a roaring tempest on the flood, a whole armado of convicted sail is scattered and disjoined from fellowship.
Courage and comfort, all shall yet go well.
Oh, what can go well when we have run so ill? Are we not beaten? Is not Angers lost? Arthur taken prisoner, divers dear friends slain, and bloody England into England gone, or bearing interruption sprite of France.
Well, he hath won that hath fortified. So hot as speed with such advice disposed, such temperate order and so fierce a cause. As one example, who hath read or heard of any kindred action like to this?
Oh, well could I bear that England had this praise, so we could find some pattern of our shame.
Enter Constance.
Look who comes here, a grave unto a soul, holding the eternal spirit against her will, in the vile prison of afflicted breath. I prithee, lady, go away with me.
Go now. Now see the issue of your peace.
Patience, good lady, comfort, gentle Constance.
No, I defy all counsel, all redress, but that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death. Death, oh amiable, lovely death, thou odoriferous stench, sound rottenness, arise forth from the couch of lasting night. Thou hate and terror to prosperity, and I will kiss thy detestable bones, and put my eyeballs in their vaulty brows, and wring these fingers with thy household worms, and stop this gap of breath with fulsome dust, and be a carrion monster like thyself. Come, grin on me, and I will think thou smilest, and bust thee as thy wife. Misery's love, come to me.
Oh, fair affliction, peace.
No, no, I will not, having breath to cry. Oh, that my tongue were in the thunder's mouth, then with a passion would I shake the world, and rouse from sleep that fell anatomy which cannot hear a lady's feeble voice, which scorns a modern invocation.
Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow.
Thou art holy to help to belie me so. I am not mad. This hair I tear is mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son. He is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were. For this, 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, Cardinal, for being not mad, but sensible of grief. My reasonable part produces reason how I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. If I were mad, I would forget my son, or madly think, a babe of clouts were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Bind up those tresses. Oh, what love I note in the fair multitude of those her hairs, where but by chance a silver drop hath fallen. Even to that drop 10,000 wiry fiends do glue themselves in sociable grief, like true inseparable, faithful love sticking together in calamity.
To England, if you will.
Sorry. Oh, bind up your hairs.
Yes, that I will. Wherefore should I do it? I tore them from their bonds and cried aloud, oh, that these hands could so redeem my son, as they have given these hairs their liberty. And now I envy at their liberty and will again commit them to their bonds, because my poor child is a prisoner. And Father Cardinal, I've heard you say that we shall see and know our friends in heaven. If that be true, I shall see my boy again. For since the birth of Cain, the first male child to him that did but yesterday suspire, there was not such a gracious creature born. But now will canker sorrow eat my bud and chase the native beauty from his cheek. And he will look as hollow as a ghost, as dim and meager as an ague's fit, and so he'll die. And rising so again, when I shall meet him in the court of heaven, I shall not know him. Therefore never must I behold my pretty Arthur more.
You hold too heinous a respect of grief.
He talks to me that never had a son.
You are as fond of grief as of your child.
Grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out his vacant garments with his form. Then have I reason to be fond of grief? Fare you well. Had you such a loss as I could give better comfort than you do. I will not keep this form upon my head when there is such disorder in my wit. Oh, Lord, my boy, my Arthur, my fair son, my life, my joy, my food, my all the world, my widow comfort, and my sorrows cure.
Exits.
I fear some outrage, and I'll follow her.
Exits.
There's nothing in this world can make me joy. Life is as tedious as a twice told tale, vexing the dull ear of a drowsy man. And bitter shame has spoiled the sweet word's taste, that it yields naught but shame and bitterness.
Before the curing of a strong dis-ease, even in the instant of repair and health, the fit is strongest. Evils that take leave on their departure, most of all show evil. What have you lost by losing this day?
All days of glory, joy, and happiness.
If you had won it, certainly you had. No. When fortune means to men most good, she looks upon them with a threatening eye. 'Tis strange to think how much King John has lost in this which he accounts so clearly won. Are not you grieved that Arthur is his prisoner?
As heartily as he is glad he hath him.
Your mind is all as youthful as your blood. Now hear me speak with a prophetic spirit, for even the breath of what I mean to speak shall blow each dust, each straw, each little rub out of the path which shall directly lead thy foot to England's throne. And therefore mark, John has seized Arthur, and it cannot be that whilst warm life plays in that infant's veins, the misplaced John should entertain an hour, 1 minute, nay, one quiet breath of rest. A scepter snatched with an unruly hand must be as boisterously maintained as gained. And he that stands upon a slippery place makes nice of no wild hold to stay him up. That John may stand, then Arthur needs must fall. So be it, for it cannot be but so.
What shall I gain by young Arthur's fall?
You in the right of Lady Blanche, your wife, may then make all the claim that Arthur did.
I'll lose it, life and all, as Arthur did.
How green you are, and fresh in this old world. John lays you plots. The times conspire with you. For he that steeps his safety in true blood shall find but bloody safety and untrue. This act, so evilly born, shall cool the hearts of all his people and freeze up their zeal, that none so small advantage shall step forth to check his reign, but they will cherish it. Now, no natural exaltation in the sky, no scope of nature, no distempered day, no common wind, no customed event, but they will pluck away his natural cause and call them meteors, prodigies, signs, abortives, presages, and tongues of heaven plainly denouncing vengeance upon John.
Maybe he will not touch young Arthur's life, but hold himself safe in his imprisonment.
Sir, when he shall hear of your approach, if that young Arthur be not gone already, even at the news he dies. And then the hearts of all his people shall revolt from him and kiss the lips of unacquainted change, and pick strong matter of revolt and wrath out of the bloody finger ends of John. Methinks I see this Hurley all on foot. Oh, what better matter beats for you than what better matter beats for you than I have named? The bastard Falconbridge is now in England, ransacking the church, offending charity. If but a dozen French were there in arms, they would be as a call to train 10,000 English to their side. Or as a little snow tumbled about, and anon becomes a mountain. Oh, noble Dolphin, go with me to the king. 'Tis wonderful what may be wrought out of their discontent, now that their souls are topful of offense. For England, go. I will wait on the king.
Strong reasons make strong actions. Let us go. If you say aye, the king will not say no.
Act 4, first scene.
All right, we're going to take a brief break here, just for like 5 minutes. So we'll be back at like 2:56, just to take a little break. But we're more than halfway through, so thank you so much. Apologize for some of the technical difficulties. If anybody has any questions or anything, we'll just be getting started we'll start the Act 4 at 2:56. Thanks.
I apologize for my shakiness, technical problems.
Yeah, now the bigger problem was actually all my fault, actually, Michael. I had I didn't turn off the spotlight video.
No, my keyboard, it wasn't working right, and it was getting in the way of my reading because this stupid keyboard wasn't scrolling right, and I have to rely on it.
Yeah, no, I know that is one of the things with scrolling things, especially like when I try and read stuff on my phone, it can just lose the place.
I don't even know how you guys read those phones. I'm working off of a laptop with a screen, but I must have done something to my keyboard because it works when I have the extension. It works for typing still, but for scrolling it doesn't seem to work anymore. So I'm relying on this stupid mouse and hoping that I don't slip it up and whatever. So I did slip it up a few times, which is what my reading got a little jumpy.
Yeah, no, I mean.
Paul?
Yes, Eleanor?
Even after the spotlight thing was fixed, we were hearing strange sounds coming from someone's unguarded mic.
Yes, it's always good just to emphasize, I don't know if people are taking a break, but that we need to try and mute things when we're not speaking and to remember to unmute ourselves when we come back on. Yeah, Michael, you want
I was going to say, unfortunately, I had my door open and my roommate came in during my scene. So if you heard a door opening and closing, that was my fault, but I couldn't get up and walk away.
That was not the problem.
That wasn't it, no.
The sounds that,
I heard.
There are weird, strange noises.
Oh.
Sort of things.
That means somebody's cell or something. Is anybody doing Wi-Fi? Because Wi-Fi can get in. I'm on a what do you call it? Ethernet, or is that what the word is?
Yeah, directly connected in.
Right, because Wi-Fi, I mean, if I try to go Wi-Fi, I'll lose my connection.
What do you do about phones, though? If I take off, well, maybe my phone might mute. I better check it out. My phone rang.
Yeah.
To all the other
off.
phones. What? But I can't take it off because there's another human being living here who wants the phone. But I just realized—
I turned my ringer way down on my phone. I have a landline. I just turned the ringer way down.
Hand that phone to the other human being.
we have 3 rooms. We have a couple of rooms, and there's a phone in 3 of them. So Mark grabbed it on the other phone, but I think I have to check to see if my phone in here will go on mute. I'll try.
Yeah, there should be a way where you can mute individual handsets.
Yeah.
And those are the sorts of things. I mean,
Jackie, hello.
Yes.
I'm saying hi to you.
You were fabulous.
I sent you.
Really good.
I sent you a thing. I sent you a hi private chat.
Yes, Eleanor, what is it? Eleanor, what did you say?
On page 83 and then again on 86, I am mentioned in connection with my death. I thought it might be appropriate for me to put my video on briefly that I'm watching from heaven as I'm mentioned.
Okay, sure.
Oh my God.
We'll see how that works. So,
I would say Eleanor. I would say Queen Eleanor goes to hell.
Shame on you.
She
Well,
contributes.
yeah, we
Well, after all,
ransom.
where did Pendolph send you? He seems to think he's God.
Oh,
Yeah, he really does.
who are the executioners in 4-1?
Oh, yes, we do need a couple of executioners. We need executioners for the second half. Yeah, let's figure out what we're doing here. We need some executioners.
Am I in any other scene?
I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, the executioner, it's like two executioners come in and there's just one line. So, Sean, why don't you and Ken be the executioners? And Ken, could you take the executioner's line in that scene?
Sure.
It's in the very first scene. It's on page 71 once we get started again. Which
Oh, if it's just one executioner, then I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can just do that, and
Yeah.
yeah, I know that's one of the things that's sort of difficult. All right, and then we need someone to be an English messenger and a French messenger.
I'll do that. What pages are there?
I would be willing to do messenger.
I have nothing else anymore. So are you dead too? I'm out. Are you dead?
I'm dead. I will be playing Melon, who dies briefly.
Oh, I have nothing else. I'm out.
Okay, so you can do the French messenger then, Jackie, and then also if later you could do Lord Bigot. He's only got 2 lines.
What page is the French messenger? I mean, you're on Act 4. Act 4 right now. I walked out of the bathroom. We're Act 4. So I'll see a messenger come on along. Okay.
Paul?
Yeah?
Forgive me for asking my stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is the word bigot taken from Lord Bigot? Is that what?
I do not believe so.
Is it bigot or is it bigot?
Okay.
It's French, isn't it?
Actually, I guess possibly. I think it is maybe pronounced bigot rather than bigot. But
Bigot. Bijot? No?
Bijot?
No, I don't know.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
May I ask something? Yes.
Yes.
Like when you have all these French people, like you know more about Shakespeare productions, and I'm not that great at accents. I kind of fake it, but normally in a production where they are French and the rest of them are another country, would you use a French accent? Like if you were the Royal Shakespeare or something? What's the opinion on that?
No.
I mean, I think that's something that it's up to the director to decide upon, and or the company to decide upon on how to do it, because I've seen it done both ways. I think there are certain things where it does work. It's actually, I mean, I think the things where you can be sure he wants you to use an accent is when Shakespeare wrote them. Like, for example, the French accent of Dr. Caius in Love's Labour's Lost.
Right.
Whereas these aren't really written in accents, so you
mean Mary Wise of Windsor.
Right.
Or the French lady, when she speaks French, you know she would have a French accent, right?
Yeah. Well, and that scene is actually in.
Yeah, you've got to do him French because the whole bit is that he gets all the words wrong, right?
Yeah,
he says a lot of things
but
wrong.
it's like, and it's also with some of the other acts where, I mean, we don't know, and it can be sort of decided because we know clearly where he wants an accent through writing it, and there's a lot of times where he doesn't. So okay, I guess then also we need Prince Henry, who just comes in the very last scene as the King John's son. That's usually doubled with Arthur.
Oh.
So David, if you want to do that.
What is his name? What is it called again? Prince Henry?
Prince Henry. He's in the very last scene.
Okay.
Just a few. And then Peter of Pomfret has just one line. So whoever wants to do that. All right, so I'm sorry, this has been a little bit longer break than I intended. So let us get back and resume. And for those of us not in the scene, to
I'm doing the messenger, and who else? There was one more thing I was doing.
Bigot, B-I-G-O-T.
Okay, Bigot.
Yeah.
Did I get it signed in the part? Nah, it looks like there was some reshuffling.
Why? Did I?
Wait, let me turn my thing off.
Never mind.
Okay.
No.
Okay, Kitty, are you back? You want to start the stage directions?
Can we start?
Yep.
Okay, fourth act, first scene, enter Hubert and executioners.
Heat me these irons hot, and look thou stand within the arras. When I strike my foot upon the bosom of the ground, rush forth and find the boy, which you shall find with me fast to the chair. Be full, tense, and watch.
I hope your warrant will bear out the deed.
Uncleanly scruples, fear not you. Look to it. Young lad, come forth. I have to say with you.
Good morrow, Hubert.
Good morrow, little prince.
As little prince, having a great title, to be more prince as may be, you were sad.
Oh, indeed, I have been merrier.
Mercy on me, methinks nobody shall be sad but I. But I remember when I was in France, young gentlemen would be as sad as night. Only for wontons, and by Christendom, so I were out of prison, I kept sheep, so that I should be merry as the day is long. And so I would be here, but that I doubt my uncle practices more harm to me. He is afraid of me, and I of him. Is it my fault that I was Geoffrey's son? No, indeed it is not. And I would to heaven I were your son, so you would love me, Hubert.
If I talk to him with an innocent prate, he will awake my mercy, which lies dead. Therefore I will be sudden and dispatch.
Are you sick, Hubert? You look pale today. In sooth, I would you were a little sick, that I might sit all night and watch with you. I warrant I love you more than you do me.
His words do take possession of my bosom. Read here, young Arthur, how now foolish room turning disputous torture out of door. I must be brief, lest resolution drop out at mine eyes in tender womanish tears. Can you not read it? Is it not fair writ?
Too fairly, Hubert, for some foul effect. Must you with hot irons burn out both mine eyes?
Young boy, I must.
And will you?
And I will.
Have you the heart? When your head did but ache, I nicked my hand kercher about your brows. The best I had, a princess wrought at me, and I did never ask you again. And with my hand at midnight held your head, and like watchful minutes to the hour, and still anon cheered up the heavy time, saying, what lack you? And where lies your grief? Or what good love may I perform for you? Many a poor man's son would have lain still, and ne'er have spoken a loving word to you. But you at your sick service had a prince. Nay, you may think my love was crafty love, and calling it cunning do, and if you will, if heaven please that you must use me ill, why then you will put out mine eyes? These eyes that never did and never shall so much as frown on you?
I have sworn to do it, and with hot irons must I burn them out.
Ah, none but in this iron age would do it. The iron of itself, though heated red hot approaching near these eyes, would drink my tears and quench this fear indignation, even in the matter of mine innocence. Nay, after that consume away in rust. But for containing fire to harm mine eyes, are you more stubborn hard than hammered iron? And if angel should come to me, and told me Hubert should put out mine eyes, I would not have believed him. No tongue but Hubert's.
Come forth. Do as I bid you do.
Oh, save me, Hubert, save me. My eyes are out, even with the fierce looks of these bloody men.
Give me the iron, I say, and bind him here.
Alas, what need you to be boisterous, Ralph, rough? And I will not struggle, I will stand stone still. But for heaven's sake, Hubert, let me not be bound. Nay, hear me, Hubert. Drive these men away, and I will sit quietly as a lamb. I will not stir, nor winch, nor speak a word, nor look upon the iron angrily. Thrust these men away. I'll forgive you. What ever torment put me to?
Go stand with him. Let me alone with him.
I am best pleased to be from such a deed.
Alas, I then have chid away my friend, and he hath a stern look, but a gentle heart. Let him come back, that his compassion may give life to yours.
Come, boy, prepare yourself.
Is there no remedy?
None but to lose your eyes.
Oh, heaven! There were but a moth in yours, a grain, a dust, a gnat, a wandering air, any annoyance in precious sense. Then feeling what small things are boisterous there, your vile intent must needs seem horrible.
Is this your promise? Go to, hold your tongue.
Hubert, the utterance of a brace of tongues must needs what pleading for a pair of eyes. Let me not hold my tongue. Let me not, Hubert. Or Hubert, if you will cut my tongue so I may keep my eyes. Oh, spare my eyes. Though to no use, but still to look on you. Lo, but my mouth instrument is cold, and would not harm me.
I can heat it, boy.
No, in good sooth, the fire is dead with grief. Being create for them for comfort to be used in undeserved extremes. See else yourself. There is no malice in this burning coal. The breath of heaven hath blown his spirit out, and strew the repentant ashes on his head.
With my breath, I can revive it, boy.
And if you do, you will make it blush and glow with the shame of your proceedings, Hubert. Nay, it perchance will sparkle in your eye, and like a dog it is compelled to fight. Snatch at his master that doth tar him on. All things that you should use to do me wrong. Deny their office, only that you do lack that mercy which fierce fire and iron extends creates of note for mercy, lacking uses.
Well, see to live. I will not touch thine eye for all the treasure that thine uncle owes. Yet I am sworn, and I did purpose, boy, with this same very iron to burn them out.
Oh, now you look like Hubert. All this while you were disguised.
Peace, no more. And you, your uncle must not know, but you are dead. I'll fill these dogged spies with false reports, and, pretty child, sleep doubtless and secure, that Hubert, for the wealth of all the world, will not offend thee.
Oh, heaven, I thank you, Hubert.
Silence, no more. Go closely in with me. Much danger do I undergo for thee.
Second scene. Enter John, Pembroke, Salisbury, and other lords.
Here once again we sit, once again crowned and looked upon, I hope, with cheerful eyes.
This once again, but that your highness pleased, was one superfluous. You were crowned before, and that high royalty was ne'er plucked off. The faiths of men ne'er stained with revolt. Fresh expectation troubled not the land with any longed for change or better state.
Therefore, to be possessed with double pomp, To guard a title that was rich before, to gild refined gold, to paint the lily, to throw a perfume on the violet, to smooth the ice, or add another hue unto the rainbow, or with taper light to seek the beauteous eye of heaven to garnish, is wasteful and ridiculous excess.
But that your royal pleasure must be done, this act is an ancient tale new told, and in the last repeating troublesome, being urged at a time unseasonable.
In this, the antique and well-noted face of plain old form is much disfigured, and like a shifted wind unto a sail, it makes the course of thoughts to fetch about, startles and flights consideration, makes sound opinion sick and truth suspected for putting on so new a fashioned robe.
When workmen strive to do better than well, they do confound their skill in covetousness, and oftentimes excusing of a fault doth make the fault the worse by the excuse. As patches set upon a little breach discredit more in hiding of the fault than did the fault before it was so patched.
To this effect before you a new crown we grieved our counsel, but it pleased your highness to overbear it, and we are all well pleased, since all and every part of what we would doth make us stand at what your highness will.
Some reasons of this double coronation I have possessed you with, and think them strong, and more strong than lesser is my fear I shall endue you with. Meantime, but ask what you would have reformed that is not well, and well shall you perceive how willingly I will both hear and grant you your requests.
Then I, as one that am the tongue of these to sound the purposes of all their hearts, both for myself and them, but chief of all your safety, for the which myself and them bend their best studies, heartily request the enfranchisement of Arthur, whose restraint doth move the murmuring lips of discontent to break into this dangerous argument. If what in rest you have, in right you hold, why then your fears, which, as they say, attend the steps of wrong, you should move you to mew up your tender kinsman, and to choke his days with barbarous ignorance, and deny his youth the rich advantage of good exercise, that the time's enemies may not have this to grace occasions. Let it be our suit, that you have bid us ask his liberty, which for our goods we do not no further ask than whereupon our weal on you depending, counts it your weal. He have his liberty.
Let it be so. I do commit his youth to your direction. Hubert, what news with you?
This is the man should do the bloody deed. He showed his warrant to a friend of mine. The image of a wicked, heinous fault lives in his eye. That close aspect of his do show the mood of a much troubled breast. And I do fearfully believe 'tis done what we so fear he hath charge to do.
The color of the king doth come and go between his purpose and his conscience, like heralds twixt two dreadful battles set. His passion is so ripe it needs must break.
And when it breaks, I feel will issue thence the foul corruption of a sweet child's death.
We cannot hold mortality's strong hand. Good lords, although my will to give is living, the suit which you demand is gone and dead. He tells us Arthur is deceased tonight.
Indeed, we feared his sickness was past cure.
Indeed, we heard how near his death he was, before the child himself felt he was sick. This must be answered either here or hence.
Why do you bend such solemn brows on me? Think you I bear the shears of destiny? Have I commandment on the pulse of life?
It is apparent foul play, and to shame that greatness should so grossly forfeit it. Both thrive it in your game, and so farewell.
Stay yet, Lord Salisbury. I'll go with thee, and find the inheritance of this poor child, his little kingdom of aforesaid grave. That blood which owed the breadth of all this isle, 3 foot it doth, 3 3 foot of it doth hold. Bad world the while, this must not be thus born. This will break out to all our sorrows, and ere long, I doubt.
Exit, enter messenger.
They burn in indignation. I repent. There is no sure foundation set on blood, no certain life achieved by others' death. A fearful eye thou hast. Where is that blood that I have seen inhabit in those cheeks? So foul a sky clears not without a storm. Pour down thy weather. How goes all in France?
Oh, from France to England, never such a power for any foreign preparation was levied in the body of a land. The copy of your speed is learned by them, for when you should be told they do prepare, the tiding comes that they are all armed.
Oh, where hath our intelligence been drunk? Where hath it slept? Where is my mother's care that such an army could be drawn in France and she not hear of it?
My liege, her ear is stopped with dust. The 1st of April did she die, your noble mother. And as I hear, my lord, the Lady Constance in a frenzy did die 3 days before. But this from rumor's tongue I idly heard. If true or false, I know not.
Withhold thy spree, dreadful occasion, or make a league with me, till I have pleased my discontented peers. What? Mother dead? How wildly then walks my estate in France, under whose conduct came those powers of France that thou for truth gives out or landed here?
Under the Dolphin.
Enter Bastard and Peter of Pomfret.
Thou hast made me giddy with these ill tidings. Now, what says he would to your proceedings? Do not seek to stuff my head with more ill news, for it is full.
Oh, but if you be afeard to hear the worst, then let the worst unheard fall on your head.
Bear with me, cousin, for I was amazed under the tide. But now I breathe again, aloft the flood, and can give audience to any tongue. Speak of it, what it will.
How I have sped among the clergymen, the sums I have collected shall express. But as I travailed hither through the land, I find the people strangely fantasied, possessed with rumors, full of idle dreams, not knowing what they fear, but full of fear. And here's a prophet that I brought with me from forth the streets of Pomfret, whom I found with many hundreds treading on his heels, to whom he sung in rude, harsh-sounding rhymes, that ere the next Ascension Day at noon, your highness should deliver up your crown.
Thou idle dreamer, wherefore didst thou so? Jackie, do you want to take that line? Just one line.
Where is it?
I'm sorry. Peter of Pomfret, top of 85, second line down. Thou idle dreamer, wherefore didst thou so?
For knowing that the truth will fall out so.
Hubert, away with him, imprison him, and on that day of noon, whereof he says I shall yield up my crown, let him be hanged. Deliver him to safety in return, for I must use thee. Oh, my gentle cousin, hearest thou the news abroad who are arrived?
The French, my lord. Men's mouths are full of it. Besides, I met Lord Bigot and Lord Salisbury with eyes as red as new enkindled fire, and others more, going to seek the grave of Arthur, whom they say is killed tonight on your suggestion.
Gentle kinsman, go, and thrust thyself into their companies. I have a way to win their loves again. Bring them before me.
I will seek them out.
But make haste, the better foot before. Oh, let me have no subject enemies when averse foreigners affright my towns with dreadful pomp of stout invasion. Be Mercury, set feather to thy heels, and fly like thought from them to me again.
The spirit of time shall teach me speed.
Spoke like a spriteful noble gentleman. Go after him, for he perhaps shall need some messenger betwixt me and the peers, and be thou here. With all my heart, my leech. My mother dead.
My lord, they say 5 moons were seen tonight, 4 fixed, and the 5th did whirl about the other 4 in wondrous motion.
5 moons?
Old men and beldams in the streets do prophesy upon it dangerously. Young Arthur's death is common in their mouths. When they talk of him, they shake their heads and whisper one another in the ear. He that speaks doth grip the hearer's wrist. Whilst he that hears makes fearful action with wrinkled brows, with nods, with rolling eyes. I saw a smith stand with his hammer thus, and whilst his iron did on the anvil cool, with open mouth swallowing a tailor's news, who with his shears and measure in his hand, standing on slippers which his nimble haste had falsely thrust upon contrary feet, told of many thousand warlike French that were embattled and ranked in Kent. Another lean and unwashed artificer cuts off his tail and talks of Arthur's death.
Why seekst thou to possess me with these fears? Why urgest thou so oft young Arthur's death? Thy hand hath murdered him. I had a mighty cause to wish him dead, but thou hadst none to kill him.
No had, my lord. Why did you not provoke me?
It is the curse of kings to be attended by slaves that take their humors for a warrant, to break within the bloody house of life, and on the winking of authority to understand a law, to know the meaning of dangerous majesty, when perchance it frowns more upon humor than advised respect.
Here is your hand and seal for what I did.
When that last account twixt heaven and earth is to be made, then shall this hand and seal witness against us to damnation. How oft the sight of means to do ill deeds make deeds ill done? Hadst not thou been by, a fellow by the hand of nature marked, quoted and signed to do a deed of shame, the murdered had not come into my mind. By taking note of thy abhorred aspect, and finding thee fit for a bloody villainy, apt, liable to be employed in danger, I faintly broke with thee of Arthur's death, and thou, to be endeared to a king, made it no conscience to destroy a prince.
My lord!
Hadst thou but shook thy head, or made a pause when I spake darkly what I purposed, or turned an eye of doubt upon my face, as bid me tell my tale in express words, deep shame had struck me dumb, made me break off, and those thy fears might have wrought fears in me. But thou didst understand me by my signs, and didst in signs again parley with sin. Yea, without stop did let thy heart consent, and consequently thy rude hand to act the deed which doth our tongue held vile to name. Out of my sight to never see me more. My nobles leave me, and my state is braved, even at my gates, with ranks of foreign powers. Nay, in the body of the fleshy land, the kingdom of this confine of blood and breath, hostility and civil tumult reigns between my conscience and my cousin's death.
Arm you against your other enemies. I'll make a peace between your soul and you. Young Arthur is alive. This hand of mine is yet a maiden, and an innocent hand, not painted with the crimson spots of blood, that in this bosom never entered yet the dreadful motion of a murderous thought. You have slandered nature in my form, which howsoever rude exteriorly is yet the cover of a fairer mind than to be butcher of an innocent child.
Oh, does Arthur live? Oh, haste thee to the peers, throw this report on their insensate rage, and make them tame to their obedience. Oh, forgive the comment that my passion made upon thy feature, for my rage was blind, and foul imaginary eyes of blood presented thee more hideous than thou art. Oh, answer not, but to my closet bring the angry lords with all expedient haste. I conjure thee but slowly, run more fast.
Third scene, enter Arthur on the walls.
The wall is high, and yet I will leap down. Good ground be pitiful, and hurt me not. There's few or none do know me. If they did, this ship boy's semblance has disguised me quite. I am afraid, and yet I'll venture it. If I get down and do not break my limbs, I'll find 1,000 shifts to get away. As good to die and go as die and stay. Hold my uncle's spirit in these stones. Heaven take my soul, and England keep my bones.
He dies. Act 4, Scene 3. Enter Pembroke, Salisbury, and Bigot.
Lords, I will meet him at St. Edmund's Bury. It is our safety, and we must embrace this gentle offer of the perilous time.
Who brought that letter from the cardinal?
The Count Mellon, a noble lord of France, whose private with me of the Dauphin's love is much more general than these lines import.
Is there a Bigot?
Tomorrow morning, let us meet him then.
Or rather than set forward.
Sorry, kids. All right. No, tomorrow morning, let us meet him then.
Or rather than set forward, which will be 2 long days' journey, lords, or ere we meet.
Enter Bastard.
Once more, today well met, distempered lords. The king by me requests your presence straight.
The king hath dispossessed himself of us. We will not line his thin bestained cloak with our pure honors, nor attend the foot that leaves the print of blood where'er it walks. Return and tell him so, we know the worst.
Whate'er you think, good words I think were best.
Our griefs are not our manners' reason now.
But there is little reason in your grief. Therefore, 'twere reason you had manners now.
Sir, impatience hath his privilege.
Oh, 'tis true, to hurt his master no man's else.
This is the prison. What is he lies here?
O death, made proud with pure and princely beauty, the earth had not a hole to hide this deed.
Murder, as hating what himself hath done, doth lay it open to urge on revenge.
But when he doomed this beauty to a grave, found it too precious, princely for a grave.
Sir Richard, what think you? Have you beheld, or have you read, or heard, or could you think, or do you almost think, although you see that you do see? Could thought without its object form such another? This is the very top, the height, the crest, or crescent to the crest of murder's arms. And this is the bloodiest shame, the wildest savagery, the vilest stroke that ever wall-eyed wrath or staring rage presented to the tears of soft remorse.
All murders past do stand excused in this, and this so sole and so unmatchable shall give a holiness, a purity to the yet unbegotten sin of times, and prove a deadly bloodshed, but a jest exampled by this heinous spectacle.
It is a damned and a bloody work, the graceless action of a heavy hand, if that it be the work of any hand.
If that it be the work of any hand, we had a kind of light what would ensue. It is the shameful work of Hubert's hand, the practice and the purpose of the king, from whose obedience I forbid my soul, kneeling before this ruin of sweet life, and breathing to his breathless excellence the incense of a vow, a holy vow, never to taste the pleasures of the world, never to be infected with delight, nor conversant with ease and idleness, till I have set a glory to this hand by giving it the worship of revenge.
Our souls religiously confirm
thy words.
Enter Hubert.
Lords, I am hot with haste in seeking you. Arthur doth live. The king has sent for you.
Oh, he is bold and blushes not at death. Avaunt, thou hateful villain, get thee gone.
I am no villain.
Must I rob the law?
Your sword is bright, sir. Put it up again.
Not till I sheathe it in a murderer's skin.
Stand back, Lord Salisbury. Stand back, I say. By heaven, I think my sword's as sharp as yours. I would not have you, Lord, forget yourself, nor tempt the danger of my true defense, lest I, by marking of your rage, forget your worth, your greatness and nobility.
Our Dunghill, darest thou brave and noble man?
Not for my life, and yet I dare defend my innocent life against an emperor.
Thou art a murderer.
Do not prove me so. Yet I am none. Whose tongue soe'er speaks false, not truly speaks. Who speaks not truly lies.
Cut him to pieces.
Keep the peace, I say.
Stand by, or I shall gall you, Falconbridge.
Oh, thou wert better gall the divil, Salisbury. If thou but frown on me, or stir thy foot, or teach thy hasty spleen to do me shame, I'll strike thee dead. Put up thy sword betime, or I'll so maul you in your toasting iron that you shall think the devil is come from hell.
What wilt thou do now, Falconbridge, second a villain and a murderer?
Lord Bigot, I am none.
Who killed this prince?
'Tis not an hour since I left him well. I honored him. I loved him, and will weep my date of life out for his sweet life's loss.
Trust not those cunning waters of his eyes, for villainy is not without such room, and he long traded in it makes it seem like rivers of remorse and innocency. Away with me, all you whose souls abhor the uncleanly savors of a slaughterhouse, for I am stifled with the smell of sin.
Away toward Bury to the Dolphin there.
There tell the king he may inquire us out.
Here's a good world. Knew you of this fair work? Beyond the infinite and boundless reach of mercy, if thou didst this deed of death, art thou damned, Hubert.
Do but hear me, sir.
I'll tell thee what, thou art damned as black, nay, nothing is so black. Thou art more deep damned than Prince Lucifer. There is not so ugly a fiend of hell as thou shalt be if thou didst kill this child.
On my soul.
Oh, if thou didst but consent to this most cruel act, do but despair. And if thou wants a cord, the smallest thread that ever spider twisted from her womb will serve to strangle thee. A rush will be a beam to hang thee on. Or wouldst thou drown thyself? But put a little water in a spoon, and it shall be as all the ocean, enough to stifle up a villain. I do suspect thee very grievously.
If I in act, consent, or sin of thought be guilty of the stealing of that sweet breath which was imbounded in this beauteous clay, let hell want pains enough to torture me. I left him well.
Go, bear him in thine arms. I am amazed, methinks, and lose my way among the thorns and dangers of this world. How easy dost thou take all England up from forth this morsel of dead royalty? The life, the right, and truth of all this realm is fled to heaven, and England now is left to tug and scamble, and to part by the teeth the unowned interest of proud swelling state. Now for the bare-picked bone of majesty doth dogged war bristle his angry chest, and snarleth in the gentle eyes of peace. Now powers from home and discontents at home meet in one line, and vast confusion waits as doth a raven on a sick fallen beast, the imminent decay of rested pomp. Now happy he whose cloak and center can hold out this tempest. Bear away that child, and follow me with speed. Out to the king. 1,000 businesses are brief in hand, and heaven itself doth frown upon the land.
Act 4, Scene 1. Enter King John and Pandulph, attendants.
Thus have I yielded up into your hand this circle of my glory.
Take again from this my hand, as holding of the Pope, your sovereign greatness and authority.
Now, keep your holy word. Go meet the French, and from his holiness use all your power to stop their marches, for we are inflamed. Our discontented counties do revolt. Our people quarrel with obedience, swearing allegiance and the love of soul to stranger blood, to foreign royalty, the inundation of mistempered humor. Rest by you only to be qualified. Then pause not, for the present time so sick that present medicine must be ministered, or overthrow incurable ensues.
It was my breath that blew this tempest up, upon your stubborn usage of the Pope. But since you are a gentle convertite, my tongue shall hush again this storm of war, and make fair weather in your blustering land. On this Ascension Day, remember well, upon your oath of service to the Pope, go I to make the French lay down their arms.
He exits.
Is this Ascension Day? Did not the prophet say that before Ascension Day at noon my crown I should give off? Oh, even so I have. I did suppose it should be on constraint, but heavens be thanked, it is but voluntary.
Enter Bastard.
All Kent hath yielded, nothing there holds out but Dover Castle. London hath received like a Kindle host the Dauphin and his powers. Your nobles will not hear you, but are gone to offer service to your enemy. And wild amazement hurries up and down the little number of your doubtful friends.
Would not my lords return to me again after they heard young Arthur was alive?
They found him dead and cast into the streets, an empty casket where the jewel of life by some damned hand was robbed and ta'en away.
Oh, that villain Hubert told me he did live.
So on my soul he did, for aught he knew. But wherefore do you droop? Why you look so sad? Be great in act as you have been in thought. Let not the world see fear and sad distrust govern the notion of a kingly eye. Be stirring as the time, be fire with fire. Threaten the threatener and outface the brow of bragging horror. So shall inferior eyes that borrow their behaviors from the great grow great by your example, and put on the dauntless spirit of resolution. Away, and glister like the god of war where he intendeth to become the field. Show boldness and aspiring confidence. What? Shall they seek the lion in his den and fright him there, and make him tremble there? Oh, let it not be said. Forage, and run to meet displeasure farther from the doors, and grapple with him ere he come so near.
The legate of the Pope hath been with me, and I have made a happy peace with him, and he hath promised to dismiss the powers led by the Dolphin.
Oh, inglorious league, shall we upon the footing of our land send fair play orders, and make compromise, insinuation, parley, and base truce to armies invasive? Shall a beardless boy, a cockred silken wanton, brave our fields, and flesh his spirit in a warlike soil, mocking the air with colours idly spread, and find no check? Let us, my liege, to arms. Perchance the cardinal cannot make your peace, or if he do, let it be said, they saw we had a purpose of defence.
Have thou the ordering of this present time.
Away then with good courage, yet I know our party may well meet a prouder foe.
Scene 2. Enter in arms Dauphin, Salisbury, Melun, Pembroke, bigot soldiers.
My lord Melun, let this be copied out and keep it safe for our remembrance. Return the president to these lords again, that having our fair order written down, both they and we, perusing o'er these notes, may know wherefore we took the sacrament, and keep our faiths firm and inviolable.
On our sides it never shall be broken. And noble Dauphin, albeit we swear a voluntary zeal and unurged faith to your proceedings, yet believe me, Prince, I am not glad that such a sore of time should seek a plaster by contempt revolt, and heal the inveterate canker of one wound by making many. Oh, it grieves my soul that I must draw this metal from my side to be a widow maker. Oh, and there, where honorable rescue and defense cries out on the name of Salisbury. But such is the infection of the time, that for the health and physic of our right we cannot deal but with the very hand of stern injustice and confused wrong. And is not pity, oh my grieved friends, that we the sons and children of this isle were born to see so sad an hour as this, wherein we step after a stranger march upon her gentle bosom, and fill up her enemies' ranks. I must withdraw and weep upon the spot of this enforced cause, to grace the gentry of a land remote, and follow unacquainted colors here. What here? O nation, that thou couldst remove, that Neptune's arms who clippeth thee about would bear thee from the knowledge of thyself, and grapple thee unto a pagan shore, where these two Christian armies might combine the blood of malice in a vein of league, and not to spend it so unneighborly.
Noble temper dost thou shown us, and great affections wrestling in thy bosom doth make an earthquake of nobility. Oh, what a noble combat hath between compulsion and a brave respect. Let me wipe off this honorable dew, that silvery does progress on thy cheeks. My heart is melted as a lady's tears, being an ordinary inundation. But this effusion of such manly drops, the shower, blown up by tempest of the soul, startles mine eyes, and makes me more amazed than had I seen the vaulty top of heaven, figured quite o'er with burning meteors. Lift up thy brow, renowned Salisbury, and with a great heart heave away this storm. Commend these waters to those baby eyes that never saw the giant world in rage, nor met with fortune other than at feasts, full warm of blood, of mirth, of gossiping. Come, come, for thou shalt thrust thy hand as deep into the purse of rich prosperity as Lewis himself. So noble shall you all that knit your sinews to the strength of mine.
Enter Pandolfo.
And even there, methinks an angel spake. Look, where the holy legate comes apace to give us warning from the hand of heaven, and on our actions set the name of right with holy breath.
Hail, noble Prince of France. The next is this. King John has reconciled himself to Rome. His spirit is come in that so stood out against the Holy Church, the great metropolis and see of Rome. Therefore thy threatening colors now wind up and tame the savage spirit of wild war, that like a lion fostered up at hand, it may lie gently at the foot of peace, and be no further harmful than in show.
Grace shall pardon me. I will not back. I am too high born to be a property, but to be a secondary at control, or useful servingman, an instrument to any sovereign state throughout the world. Your breath first kindled the dead coal of wars between this chastised kingdom and myself, and brought in matter that should feed this fire. And now, 'tis far too huge to be blown out with that same weak wind which kindled it. You taught me to know the face of right, acquainted me with interest to this land. Yea, thrust this enterprise into my heart. Come you now to tell me John has made his peace with Rome? What is that peace to me? By the honor of my marriage bed, after young Arthur claimed this land for mine. And now it is half conquered, must I back because that John has made his peace with Rome? Am I a Rome slave? What penny hath Rome borne? What men provided? What munitions sent to underprop this action? Is it not I that undergo this charge? Who else but I? And such as to my claim reliable, sweat in this business and maintain this war. Have I not heard these islanders shut up? Vive le roi, as I have banked their towns. Have I not here the best cards for the game to win this easy match, played for a crown? And shall I now give o'er the yielded set? No, no. On my soul, it never shall be said.
You look but on the outside of this work.
Outside or inside, I will not return till my attempt be so much be glorified. As to my ample hope was promised before I drew this gallant head of war, and culled these fiery spirits from the world to outlive conquest, and to win renown even in the jaws of danger and of death. What lusty trumpet thus doth summon us?
Enter Bastard.
According to the fair play of the world, let me have audience. I am sent to speak. My holy lord of Milan from the king, I come to learn how you have dealt for him. And as you answer, I do know the scope and warrant limited unto my tongue.
The dolphin is too willful opposite, and will not temporize with my entreaties. He flatly says he'll not lay down his arms.
By all the blood that ever fury breathed, the youth says well. Now hear our English king, for thus his royalty doth speak in me. He is prepared, and reason to he should, this apish and unmannerly approach, this harnessed mask and unadvised rebel, this unheard sauciness and boyish troops, the king doth smile at, and is well prepared to whip this dwarfish war, this pygmy arms from out the circle of his territories. That hand which had that strength even at your door to cudgel you and make you take the hatch, to dive like buckets in concealed wells, to crouch in litter of your stable planks, to lie like fawns locked up in chests and trunks, to hug with wine, to seek sweet safety out in vaults and prisons, and to thrill and shake even at the crying of your nation's crow, thinking this voice an armed Englishman. Shall that victorious hand be feebled here, that in your chambers gives you chastisement? No. No, the gallant monarch is in arms, and like an eagle o'er his airy towers, to sows annoyance that comes near his nest. And you, degenerate, you ingrate revolts, you bloody Neros ripping open the womb of your dear mother England, blush for shame. For your own ladies and pale-visaged maids, like Amazons, come tripping after drums, their thimbles into armed gauntlets change, their needles to lances, and their gentle hearts to fierce and bloody inclination.
Therein thy brave, and turn thy face in peace. Grant thou canst outscold us. Fare thee well. We hold our time too precious to be spent with such a brabbler.
Give me leave to speak.
No, I will speak.
We will attend to neither. Strike up the drums, and let the tongue of war plead for our interest in our being here.
Oh, indeed, your drums being beaten will cry out, and so shall you, being beaten. Do but start an echo with the clamor of thy drum, and even at hand a drum is ready braced, that shall reverberate all as loud as thine. Sound but another, and another shall, as loud as thine, rattle the welkin's ear and mock the deep-mouthed thunder. For at hand, not trusting to this halting legate here, whom he hath us used rather for sport than need, is warlike John. And in his forehead sits a bare-ribbed death, whose office is this day to feast upon whole thousands of the French.
Strike up our drums to find this danger out.
And thou shalt find it, Dauphin, do not doubt.
Scene 3, alarum, enter John and Hubert.
How goes the day with us? Oh, tell me, Hubert.
Badly, I fear. How fares your majesty?
The fever that hath troubled me so long lies heavy on me. Oh, my heart is sick.
My lord, your valiant kinsman Falconbridge desires your majesty to leave the field and send him word by me which way you go.
Tell him towards Swinstead, to the abbey there.
Be of good comfort, for the great supply that was expected by the Dauphin here are wracked 3 nights ago on Goodwin Sands. This news was brought to Richard, but even now the French fight coldly and retry themselves.
My me, this tyrant fever burns me up and will not let me welcome this good news. Set on toward Swinstead to my litter straight. Weakness possesseth me, and I am faint.
Scene 4, enter Salisbury, Pembroke, and Bigot.
I did not think the king so stored with friends.
Pembroke.
Pembroke is muted.
Sorry. Up once again. Put spirit in the French. If they miscarry, we miscarry too.
That misbegotten devil Falconbridge, in spite of spite, alone upholds the day.
They say King John sore sick hath left the field.
Enter Meroon, wounded.
Lead me to the revolts of England here.
When we were happy, we had other names.
It is the Count Maloon.
Wounded to death.
Fly, noble English, you are bought and sold. Unthread the rude eye of rebellion, and welcome home again, discarded face. Seek out King John, and fall before his feet. For if the French be lords of this loud day, he means to recompense the pains you take by cutting off your heads. Thus hath he sworn, and I with him, and many Mogus with me, upon the altar at St. Edmundsbury, even upon that altar where we swore to you, dear amity, and everlasting love.
May this be possible? May this be true?
Have I not hideous death within my view, retaining but a quantity of life which bleeds away, even as a form of wax resolveth from his figure gainst the fire? What in the world should make me now deceive, since I must lose the use of all deceit? Why should I then be false, since it is true that I must die here, and live hence by truth? I say again, if Lewis do win the day, he is forsworn if e'er those eyes of yours behold another day break in the east. But even this night, whose black contagious breath already smokes about the burning crest of the old, feeble, and day-wearied sun, even this ill night, your breathing shall expire, paying the fine of rated treachery, even with a treacherous fine of all your lives. If Lewis, by your assistance, win the day, commend me to one Hubert, with your king, the love of him, and this respect besides, for that my grandsire was an Englishman, awakes my conscience to confess all this, in lieu of whereof I pray you bear me hence from forth the noise and rumour of the field, where I may think the remnants of my thoughts in peace, and part this body and my soul with contemplation and devout desires.
We do believe thee, and through my soul that I do love the favour and the form of this most fair occasion, by the which we will tread the steps of damned right, and like a baited and retired flood, leaving our rankness and irregular course, stoop low within those bounds we have o'erlooked, and calmly run on in obedience, even to our ocean, to our great King John. My arm shall give thee help to bear thee hence, for I do see the cruel pangs of death right in thine eye. Away, my friends, new flight and happy newness that intends old right.
Scene 5. Enter Dauphin and his train.
The Son of Heaven, what, was left to set, but stayed, and made the western welkin blush. When the English measure backward their own ground and faint retire, oh, bravely came we off with the valley of our needless shot. After such bloody toil, we bid good night, and wound our tottering colors clearly up, last in the field and almost lords of it.
Enter a messenger.
Where is my prince, the Dolphin?
Here, what news?
The Count Maloon is slain. The English lords, by his persuasion, are again fallen off. And your supply, which you have wished so long, are cast away and sunk on Goodwin sands.
Ah, foul, shrewd news. Through the very heart. I did not think to be so sad tonight as this has made me. King John did fly an hour or two before the stumbling night did part our weary powers.
Whoever spoke it, it is true, my lord.
Well, keep good quarter and good care tonight. The day shall not be up so soon as I to try the fair adventure of tomorrow.
Scene 6. Enter Bastard and Hubert severally.
Who's there? Speak ho! Speak quickly, or I shoot.
A friend! What art thou?
Of the part of England.
Whither dost thou go?
What's that to thee? Why may I not demand of thine affairs as well as thou of mine?
Hubert, I think.
Thou hast a perfect thought. I will upon all hazards well believe thou art my friend that knows my tongue so well. Who art thou?
Who thou wilt, and if thou please, thou mayest befriend me so much as to think I come one way of the Plantagenets.
Unkind remembrance, thou and endless night have done me shame. Brave soldier, pardon me, that any accent breaking from thy tongue should scrape the true acquaintance of mine ear.
Come, come, sans compliment, what news abroad?
Why, here walk I in the black brow of night to find you out.
Brief then, and what's the news?
Oh, my sweet sir, news fitting to the night, black, fearful, comfortless, and horrible.
Show me the very wound of this ill news. I am no woman, I'll not swoon at it.
King, I fear, is poisoned by a monk. I left him almost speechless and broke out to acquaint you with this evil, that you might the better arm you to the sudden time than if you had at leisure known of this.
Well, how did he take it? Who did taste to him?
A monk, I tell you, a resolved villain whose bowels suddenly burst out. The king yet speaks, and peradventure may recover.
Who didst thou leave to tend to his majesty?
Why know you not? The lords are all come back and brought Prince Henry in their company, at whose request the king hath pardoned them. They are all about his majesty.
Withhold thine indignation, mighty heaven, and tempt us not to bear above our power. I'll tell thee, Hubert, half my power this night passing these flats are taken by the tide. These Lincoln washes have devoured them. Myself, well mounted, have hardly escaped. Away before, conduct me to the king. I doubt he will be dead, or ere I come.
Scene 7. Enter Prince Henry, Salisbury, and Bigot. Henry.
You're muted. You should be Henry. You're muted.
Oh, I thought I was, okay. I thought I pushed it, okay. It is too late. The life of his blood is touched corruptly in his pure brain, which some suppose the soul's frail dwelling house, doth by the comments it makes, foretelling the end of mortality.
Enter Pembroke.
His Highness yet doth speak and holds belief that being brought into the open air, it will allay the burning quality of that fell poison with which assaileth him.
Let him be brought into the orchard here. Doth he still rage?
He is more patient than when you left him. Even now he sung.
O vanity of sickness, fierce extremes in their continuance will not feel themselves. Death, having preyed upon the outward parts, leaves them invisible, and his siege is now against the wind, with which he pricks and wounds with many legions of strange fantasies. Within their throng and pressed to last hold, confound themselves, to strange death should sing. I am the simit to his pale, faint swan, who chaunts the doleful hymn to his own death, and from the organ pipe of frailty sings his soul and body of their everlasting rest.
Be of good comfort, Prince, for you are born to set a form upon that indigest which he hath left so faithless and so rude.
John is brought in.
Ay, marry, now my soul hath elbow room. I would not out at windows nor at doors. There is so hot a summer in my bosom that all my bowels crumble up to dust. I am a scribbled form, drawn with a pen upon a parchment, and against this fire do I shrink up.
How fares your majesty?
Poisoned, ill fare, dead, forsook, cast off. And none of you will bid the winter come to thrust his icy fingers in my maw, nor let my kingdom's river take their course through my burned bosom, nor entreat the north to make his bleak winds kiss my parched lips and comfort me with cold. I do not ask you much, I beg cold comfort. And you are so straight and so ungrateful, you deny me that.
Oh, that there were some virtue in my tears that might relieve you.
The salt in them is hot, within me is a hell, and there the poison is as a fiend confined to tyrannize on unreprievable, condemned blood.
Bastard enters.
Oh, I am scalded with my violent motion and speed of spleen to see your majesty.
Oh, cousin, thou art come to set mine eye. The tackle of my heart is cracked and burnt, and all the shrouds wherewith my life should sail are turned to one thread, one little hair. My heart hath but one poor string to stay it by, which holds but till thy news be uttered. Then all this thou seest is but a clod and module of confounded royalty.
The Dauphin is preparing hitherward, where heaven knows how we shall answer him. For in a night the best part of my power, as I upon advantage did remove, were in the washes all unwarily devoured by the unexpected flood.
You breathe these dead news in as dead an ear, my liege, my lord. But now a king, now thus.
Even so must I run on, and even so stop. What surety of the world? What hope? What stay? Oops. Shh, I knocked it. What page are we on now? Page what?
122.
Yeah, this, okay, be right there. The iPad moves. 124, you said, right?
122.
122? Okay, 1 second. Shh. Oops. Hold on. Right there.
When this was now a king.
I know, but you do that a lot. Just give me a second. I'll find it. Thank you. Sorry, but it's not that. It's just, I have to go. I'm using an instrument here that it just takes a second. 1 second. Sorry. I'm almost there. Here we go. 122, you said, right?
Yes.
Fine.
Are you Henry? That's
Yeah.
bottom.
Even so must I run, and even so to stop. What surety of the world, what hope, what stay? When this was now a king, and now is clay?
Art thou gone so? I do but stay behind to do the office for thee of revenge. And then my soul shall wait on thee to heaven, as it on earth hath been thy servant still. Now, you stars that move in your right spheres, where be your powers? Show now your mended faiths, and instantly return with me again to push destruction and perpetual shame out of the weak door of our fainting land. Straight let us seek, or straight we shall be sought. The Dauphin rages at our very heels.
It seems you know not then so much as we. The Cardinal Pandulph is within at rest, who half an hour since came from the Dauphin, and brings from him such offers of our peace, as we with honor and respect may take, with purpose presently to leave this war.
He will the rather do it when he sees ourselves well sinewed to our defense.
Nay, it is in a manner done already, for many carriages he hath dispatched to the seaside, and put his cause and quarrel to the disposing of the cardinal. with whom yourself, myself, and other lords, if you think meet, this afternoon will post to consummate this business happily.
Let it be so. And you, my noble prince, with other princes that may best be spared, shall wait upon your father's funeral.
At Worcester must his body be interred, for so he will do it.
Thither shall it then, and happily may your sweet self put on the lineal state and glory of the land, to whom with all submission on my knee I do bequeath my faithful services and true subjection everlastingly.
And the like tender of our love we make, to rest without a spot for evermore.
I have a kind soul that would give thanks and knows not how to do it, but with tears.
Oh, let us pay the time, but needful woe, since it hath been before with our griefs. This England never did, nor never shall, lie at the proud foot of a conqueror, but when it first did help to wound itself. Now, these her princes are come home again, come the three corners of the world in arms, and we shall shock them. Naught shall make us rue, if England to itself do rest but true.
Exit.
Yay.
Yay, we're through. Well done. Good job, everybody. Thank you so much for doing this. This was fun. It was interesting. I mean, the things you sort of hear, there's so much in this where it's like supposedly about like King John, but there's so much sort of Elizabethan politics that you can see so clearly, especially all of the contemptuous stuff saying about the Pope and that England shall be free and that England will never sort of have any troubles except when there's internal divisions, which is also referring to like the Catholics who are trying to assassinate Elizabeth. So that was great. Thank you very much. Thank you for the attendees who've made it through. I'm promoting you to panelists in case there's anybody wants to say anything, and also any sort of observations or thoughts from the cast. And again, I thank you all so much for doing this.
I just want to share some funny anecdotes about this play.
Okay.
Years ago, I went to see this with a friend of mine at the Delacorte Theater back in the 90s. And the kid who was playing Arthur, you know, is a lot going against that part anyway, because he is kind of whiny at times. You don't want, well, the kid who was playing him was very whiny. So that when, thank God we were sitting in the back. When it got to the part where he tries to save his life and ends up falling to his death, Sonia and I just turned to each other and we just lost it. And we were like holding it. I just couldn't say nothing. And I said, oh, please, I don't want to, you know, thank God we were hard enough. And now I know why. It wasn't just that. It was Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That scene, Arthur with Hubert, I think they were thinking of King John. And the other scene, the wall, both of those remind me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail now. You know?
Yeah, no, especially, Hubert and the Citizen of Angiers. It's very much like, oh, we're going to be for the king.
Right.
So we know who the king is.
Those two scenes.
This thing was written not long after Hamlet died, wasn't it?
That's one of the things that's believed, yes.
Yeah, that's what they say. He wrote Arthur, something about Arthur about that or something.
It's Constance's glorious speech. And when they did the Crow comedy show.
Yeah, Upstart Crow.
And they did the episode of Hamlet's death. They then closed with Shakespeare and his wife just sitting there and a voiceover reading that speech.
Well, my advice to you is if
fills the room up with my absent child, and it was heartbreaking. It really was.
As it should be.
Yeah. And the other great one was in that Canadian program.
Slings and Arrows.
Slings and Arrows, when they did I am the signet to that pale, faint swan. that speech as they cast his ashes into the pool. I mean, there's some fabulous just little moments about death in that are just gorgeous.
Well, the other thing I remember from that production was when King John is asking Hubert to kill Arthur. The way the actor, who was it, Kevin Conroy? Kevin Conroy, I think it was.
Yeah, he just died.
Oh, the way he played that scene was so chilling. He didn't look at him once, and he took pauses. He gave himself a little break and couldn't look at him while he was saying the whole thing. So he didn't want to own it.
I know, because it is such a great speech that John goes on and on for all this stuff where I want to say something to you. I want to say something to you, but I don't really know how to say it.
When he tells him to kill him, though, he doesn't even look at him. It's like, I said it, but I didn't say it. You know?
Plausible deniability.
He does deny it later.
Signed letter. I mean, that's John's in big trouble for that. You know?
Oh, yeah.
He does deny it later. He denies that he ever did. We all heard him.
And
Well,
he was like, here's
deniable until the kid jumps off all by himself.
Yeah, no, it does end up being ironical that, yes, I mean, he doesn't want him dead. He manages to plead for his life and get his life. And then, oh, well, I just some dumb prince like, oh, I can jump down from here. That's also actually kind of reminds me of like the Douglas Adams with the Hitchhiker's Guide with the whale that's falling down. It's like, oh, what's this that's coming up to me so big? Let me call it the ground. Oh, I hope it'll be friends with me.
Oh.
But yeah.
Isn't it Hitchhikers?
It is. We had. I mean, it is interesting. I mean, because there are things in it that can be very, very funny. With the way we did it, when I did it with Actors Shakespeare Company, the actress who played Arthur, how we did the fall was it was in very much in slow motion. I mean, because to get from the height to down, and we really didn't have things to do it. We had people who like held her and sort of did it down in slow motion.
Oh.
Sort of like in the speech, and then like the last line where it's like, oh, I'm dead, you know. And it actually wasn't. It worked, and it didn't. We didn't get any laughs with that.
Say it again. How you did it?
Well, it wasn't a very high platform, but that it was sort of at the moment when Arthur jumps. It was sort of like in slow motion, and those of us who were going to be the lords who were going to come on and then discover Arthur were there to just sort of bring her down for the fall, and then we went back out and made our entrances as the lords. So, I mean, it was just, I mean, because it is sort of, I mean, and I think there is something that if you have a fall that happens quickly, and then he's got, oh, well, I'm dead, it can be, there's more potential for it to seem funnier. Whereas by doing it in slow motion, it sort of highlighted that moment and sort of took it a little ways from the realm of humorous.
Yeah, actually, it's not as hard as poor Imogen. And I loved it. When Lily Reb played her in the park, every time she discovers what she thinks is Posthumus's body, that we, the whole audience, know is Clotten.
Mm-hmm.
She's weeping, and I was weeping with her because I knew she was doing real work up there, and I kind of pick up on them when they're feeling, I feel what they feel. But the people in back of me were in hysterics. And I said, it's not fair. The part is so against her because we, the audience, know the joke that it's Clotten who's dead. She's freaking out thinking it's really Posthumus. Get it? It's a tough part for an actress because she's got to deal with that quality that we, the audience, already know. It's Clotten. You know, we don't care about Clotten, right? But she's like devastated. And it's like, you know, it's got to be an actress who's so committed. And I thought she was, but, you know, people back in me were laughing.
Yeah, well, sometimes, I mean, humor, people will laugh at sometimes really inappropriate things, and it's because they're moved. And that we're not really great in terms of like from sort of the way that people
Want to
describe
show them how pretty
all
you
the
are?
time. It's easier to laugh, and so sometimes as a defense mechanism, people.
I'm going to say goodbye.
All
See-
right, thank you so much,
Thank you.
David.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye. But
Do we know where this was premiered?
I mean, I believe it was it. I mean, there's so much of it that seems to me that it was clearly under Elizabeth. So it would have been, I mean, like I think it's usually sort of thought to be about like 1599 to 1603, something
So
like
this would probably be the curtain.
no, well, they were at the theater and then at the Globe. The curtain was like earlier, I think,
Oh,
like
okay.
with the 1592 to 1595.
Gotcha.
I think.
So this was already in a pentagonal theatre.
Yeah, well, there's another play that this is, I think, called The Troublesome Reign of King John, which scholars used to think was an earlier version of the play, but they think it was just another play about it because, I mean, there were lots of different history plays because the English, they love their history, so, and also a good chance to have some nice fights.
By the way, you guys, that was a demonstration, and it was in the middle of my scene. There's a huge demonstration going on, as you know, all over the city today.
Oh,
So that's what you all heard, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are they demonstrating about?
The horrible, consistent murders of African Americans here in this country by the cops.
Yeah.
And
this one is just
don't forget that that Karen who was calling the cops on Chris Cooper when he was simply politely asking her to leash her dog that was distraught.
Yeah, I think I heard they took the dog away.
Yes.
They did.
Yes, she was strangling the dog. You know, he offered the dog a dog biscuit to get her to put
I know.
it.
Yeah, poor guy, and just
A country of inequalities.
He handled himself beautifully.
I know he did. I heard the recall. Yeah, he did. And
yeah, there's still lots of racism in this country. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I heard shots in the. I live across the street from Chelsea Park, and I heard shots coming from there, which has happened on more than one occasion. So I had called the police to alert them that they should look and see if there's anyone lying there shot who needed rescuing. And on this occasion, right a little afterwards, two people were right underneath my window, and they were walking while black as a cop hassled the man for no reason, claiming, and because of the call I had made, and claiming, I called 911 to tell them about the cop hassling, and the cop was saying he fits the description. And of course, my call had said I heard shots. There was no description. So
Yeah.
I was talking to the 911 person, referring to my previous call, while she was talking to the cop, and back and forth until she got the cops to call off the cop.
Yeah.
And then I went, yay, out the window to the two poor people.
No, it's it is
say hello.
very bad, and we need to.
I felt guilty that my phone call had given him that excuse.
Not sure many of them. Not sure many of them need an excuse.
Yeah. But maybe if there's real consequences to what happens, then
Yeah, well, if I hadn't been able to get the cop called off, there would have been real consequences.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just chance that he started hassling this guy right outside my window, and I was able to get involved.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
That's why
anyways,
I've moved back to London.
any other observations about King John? All right.
It
I'm
was
sorry,
a
Ken,
great.
do you have something you want to say?
I just wanted to say it was a great reading. I had fun, and I wanted to say good afternoon to everyone. I'm going to go now.
Okay. All right. Well, I know I've got some issues to deal with.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us from Brooklyn.
Say hello.
To,
And then this girl.
yeah. And
I've
I'll,
lost
My
them.
kitty say hi. This
Hi,
is
kitty
Coco.
cat.
This is Coco.
Hi,
She
Coco.
just celebrated her 3rd birthday. That was Mr. Dibbs, who's going to be 16.
Oh, good gracious.
wow. Good. Very great. So anyways, this week, well, actually, I'm doing a thing. I haven't sent out any information about it, but I will be sending out something shortly that I'm doing that's not a Shakespeare thing, which is tomorrow afternoon at 4 about a citizen advocate. I mean, how to sort of stand up for people and to be able to provide advocacy assistance for each other. And also tomorrow we're really going to be focusing about healthcare advocacy.
What time is this?
It's at 4 o'clock. And I've been trying to write stuff up and send stuff out to it, and I will send out later tonight, and we'll send invites for that. And then for all of our Shakespeare offerings this week, on Wednesday, we're going to have our Exploring Shakespeare discussion where we sort of talk about various things, aspects of Shakespeare, what's sort of been suggested, what we're going to focus on are books about Shakespeare or Shakespeare books that you found particularly useful, just so we can share some of our insights on that, or books that also talk about him. I mean, there's just so many books about Shakespeare. Believe me, I've got a lot, but I'm not even close to how many books there are. So it's great.
Anything by James Shapiro.
Yes, many very good ones by James Shapiro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the
Year of Lear is an interesting book. It's not just about Shakespeare though, but it's about what happened the year that Lear was written.
But that, when he looks at 1596 and the transition that Shakespeare went through.
Yeah.
He moved from popular to much more investing in trying to change people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and there's so much. I mean, and especially what James Shapiro does so well is to give us greater insight to understand the time that Shakespeare lived in, to understand his work better. So yeah, so
I was lucky enough that when he published the one that really shot the anti-Shakespeare people down in a cloud of flames, he gave a lecture at the New York Public Library, and I was fortunate to be able to get to see it. And he was great.
James Shapiro, yeah, he really is terrific.
Columbia University, yeah,
and he's also.
I think one reviewer said of that book, it was excellent. However, it was a little bit like taking a mechanical digger to crush a mouse.
Yeah, well, that mouse.
There are still people.
But yeah, it really is contested will. That's a very.
That's right. Great book.
Yeah, really terrific. But yeah, so we'll be talking about those books on.
If I can't make that, are you going to put that on YouTube also?
I don't know. I haven't been doing that with the exploring things. I've been wanting to do them as put them together, as edit them down a little and do them as podcasts, but I haven't had time to do any of that.
No time?
Yeah, well, we see we've got that on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got Antony and Cleopatra. Miss Mendoza from New Zealand is play mastering.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, it's got so many casts. I think she's got a very good cast for it already, and I think she still may have some more parts.
I did Antony in an instant Shakespeare once. That was great fun.
Yeah, that's right. And then next Saturday we're going to be doing the Two Gentlemen of Verona, which I haven't really done very much with yet. So email me if you're interested. And yeah, I'm hoping to try and get to a point of having more of a schedule, because I do want to do all of the works online through Zoom. Since I'm not sure when we will get back to the libraries, I want to get back there. But if not, I will probably continue some of these Zoom events as well.
I am unfortunately probably biased in that because you're doing them on Zoom, I can participate.
Yes. And
I can't actually get to the libraries at the moment in New York.
Is it possible to do another Thursday evening reading of Richard II? I missed the other one, and I'd love to do it. And oh, actually, we're doing it next week in another group, so it's okay. But I'll do it here too, just to celebrate that they're not doing it in the park.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's always an interesting one, and both like Richard II and King John are the only two plays that are supposedly totally in verse. And I mean,
It was supposed to do it in the park this summer. This would have been like the 10th performance tonight.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did do. I'm not sure if it's up on the YouTube channel, but we have the one that Jonathan Brahms had play mastered with John.
Right.
Yes. Good. Fun.
Very good, which was a very strong movie. And so I mean, so especially for things like with these, like a lot of these ones, we've already done ones that that we done live, and now we've done them here. But if we've already done them here, I kind of want to wait to go and do them another time till we get through the rest of the works.
Actually, virtual, the other group with the virtual Shakespeare, we're doing it this Thursday if you guys want to come watch. This Wednesday.
Would you send me an invitation with the link?
Yeah, I will. I'll send you an invite.
Yeah. All right. And
I'd like to play master something, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry I hadn't responded to your email, but yeah, I will send some dates for coming.
We'll talk about it when you're ready, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean,
please count me in, Jackie.
I got you already, Eleanor. Right? I have good hearing, right?
Okay.
And so unless there's any other sorts of reminders, important things, questions, objections.
Paul, I do have one. What are you planning for the 13th, for the next Saturday?
Well, I'm not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
That's what I need to work on. I hope to get at least the June schedule done by early next week. So then I will be letting people know about that.
Cool. Okay, great. And thanks again for bringing me those plays. That was great.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Paul, for doing this. It's great. I'm going to go out in the sun now.
Oh, thank you. Dad. Apologies for some
You're
of the
saving my life, Paul.
Yes, this has truly enriched many lives.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Great. Well, that's what it's for. So thank you, and we'll
Thank you.
be together soon.
Take care, everybody. Keep safe.
Bye, everyone. We'll try.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye. Thank you. Ending.